I'm the world's leading real estate trainer today, and I teach people how to buy and sell houses without using their money or credit all over North America. And because I personally teach my events, I hear the same things over and over everywhere I go, no matter what city I'm in. People are hating more and more of what they do. I'm not in control of my life, and I have to work 70 hours a week, whether I like it or not. To take your life back and build your own business is really what we are here to do.
When it comes to Ron LeGrand, there's nobody else that has had more of an impact on our real estate investing business. Ron himself has invested in more than 3,000 single-family homes himself. So he knows what he's doing. He's been through all the failures and the mistakes to teach us and other students.
Our folks come in, they start wherever they like. I like to teach people how to be a transaction engineer. There's all kinds of ways to make money in real estate. And if you only see one way, then you're walking through the business with blinders on and usually walking over the dollars to get to the dimes. Real estate is a vehicle to generate cash, not to bury cash.
It's amazing, just 2 years ago when I was working a day job at a restaurant and quitting that to go do the real estate full time, I've made more money in one transaction than I ever made in 1 year working at a restaurant.
My goal is to get people out of a job and into freedom by taking control of their own financial destiny. It's all about freeing up your time so you can enjoy life.
Because of Ron LeGrand, we were able to triple our income and go from 6 figures a year to 7 figures a year within that first year of meeting Ron.
The common objection, I don't have time, I don't have money, it's not for me. Ron's had 18-year-old kids go through this program, make $30,000. It works for anybody.
We have a community, and that's what it is. It's a community. It's a great big family. So we're not going to run you in a seminar and love you and leave you in the morning. We're going to be there when you get out of the seminar, and we expect this relationship to keep going for a lot of years into the future. Once you enter Planet Ron, as I call it, you're in it for life.
Well, hello there. Welcome aboard. I'm Ron LeGrand, and I just happen to have my acquisitionist sitting beside me here, and his name is Adel. If John, can you put the camera? There you go. All right. He's the guy responsible for my entire real estate business, and he does everything there is to do in that regard. And we buy all the houses, everything we show you tonight, we've been doing, and I'm going to continue to doing. I'm showing you a few examples out of the pile that we have. So, how many hours a week do you work, Adel?
5, 10.
Yeah.
It gets more and more time you ask me.
That's about right. 5 hours, and he's a full-time acquisitionist. Now he's a mentor to you, and he's also running a lot of calls and doing a lot of things for global publishing as well.
Yes, sir.
In between. All right. I just wanted you to meet him. He's going to come back here on the TikTok camera, right?
I'll be on, camera. TikTok's here. If you're on TikTok, get in the chat, ask questions. I'll be monitoring that all night.
Okay. All right. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Speaking of questions, you can ask them while we're going by putting them up there in the column. John, tell them what they need to do that.
Yeah, so you guys, hopefully you registered. You're watching on StreamYard. There's a chat section there. You put a Q in front of your question that helps us just know that's a question for Ron, not just general chat going on in the chat section.
And go ahead.
So just put a Q in front of your question, and I'll mark that question, and Ron will take questions a little bit later, and he'll answer everything you've got. So just type it right there in the chat.
And if you are not where you can do that, I'm going to give you, if I give it to you now, ask@ronlegrand.com, ask@ronlegrand.com. Question in there, and we'll get you an answer very, very quickly. You'd be surprised how fast I answer those questions and get them back to you. I answered some just before I came here today. All right. So I don't know. I'm guessing we're going to be here about an hour and a half on subject matter, but then you're asking questions, and when we get through tonight, we'll determine how many questions you ask. And don't forget, though, you can put them on ask@ronlegrand.com so that you do get them answered. I'll answer them for you tomorrow. Tonight, we're going to go into the terms business and what that means and why it's important to you. I'm going to show you some wholesale deals we did here just to make sure you know that we do all this stuff, but tonight's focus is on the terms, which is my favorite way to buy houses and the fastest way you're going to get rich in real estate. Take notes, take screenshots. I'm absolutely going to put up some screenshots you're going to want to capture. You can, I guess you can photo with you on your phone, but where you can do screenshots, just do it. That's how I go to a seminar. I just put up there and cuts down on the writing. All right. So you all should have gotten an email with my property information sheet in it and with some scripts in it. And if you did not get that email, what should they do, John?
I'll put that link here in the chat. But if you registered, but I will find that link. If you give me just a couple minutes, everybody, I'll put it in the chat section for you guys.
All right. I don't know if your mic was on, John, but I think they heard you. Okay.
Okay, hold on. My bad. I muted myself. So yeah, if you didn't, you should have seen that in when you registered for tonight's event. You should have seen that in your email. If you didn't, I will type that link for that in the chat here, and you should be able to click on that and then get to those.
Okay, good. All right. We're going to get going. Are you ready to take notes? And then what are you going to do with them after you take them? Take them home and put them on the pile from the last seminar? Is that what you're going to do with them? Okay. Listen, I'm going to give you enough information tonight to get out there and start doing some real estate. And I'm going to give you some help as well, if you want it. And there's nothing stopping you from doing it, as I'm about to show you, because I can tell you right now, don't take money or credit. Once you get that thoroughly in your head, you'll see, I mean, what the heck am I waiting on? We have a lot of companies that we work with, some we own, but mostly companies that we work with. So we've been a lot of years putting this system together so you don't have to go through all the grief that I went through for you. Fastest way to make money in real estate today, the absolute fastest, is actually wholesaling a house. The one that'll create the most wealth, though, is doing the terms deals, and you'll see all the income streams in them shortly. In fact, I'm going to show you a few of the houses that we wholesaled here in a minute. I'm here tonight to show you how to build residual income. Residual income, that means it comes in every month, whether you're working or not. You do the job once, and it keeps coming in, unlike anything in the wholesale or rehab and retail. I want you to be able to build a business that is working for you without you having to get out of bed in the morning. And, you know, I'm an example of that. We're going to operate a business without raising a bunch of money, without banks. I have no use for banks at all, except, you know, that's where the money is in the bank, but I don't need them. Large overhead. You do not have a large overhead. You have a very small overhead in this business. In fact, it's impressing how small the overhead is in this real estate business compared to other brick and mortar businesses out there. I tell people all the time, the last restaurant I had, I sold it. That restaurant, I had to gross $100,000 a month just to break even. And some months I didn't gross $100,000, so I had to write a check. No such thing in this business. No risk is what I'd like to set you up with. I got a little bit of voice problem tonight, but I think I can make it through. So there's your address again to ask questions. You want to write that one down? Because I don't believe there's any way you're going to go through this presentation tonight and not have questions. I'm going to be offering you a chance to get some training at the end, a starter kit to get some training in the end and learn all about dreams, and you decide whether you want it. And I've never ever even thought about offering it at the price you're going to be able to get it tonight. A little bit about me. I've been around forever. I've been around so long they're starting to call me Moses. Some call me the Godfather. Some call me other things. I've been at this. I just realized I'm past my 43rd. I'm in my 44th year in this business right now. I do residential and commercial. I've had multiple different businesses along the way, and I train the trainers. Most of the people you see on the web today that are training came through me, and some of them I help build their training business as well after they get their real estate nailed down. And you have the option of doing that if you want to. Some people, you know, people love to teach. And it's nothing more fun than teaching what you know very well. I've spoken with the biggest and the best in this country, all over multiple different types of stages of all sizes, including this guy. You might recognize him. Okay. Yep. He was at an event we had one time and spoke for an hour. He was an hour late. Spoke for an hour. Didn't say much of anything, but, he did help us fill the room with folks to see the Donald. I didn't start on top. I'll tell you that right now. I started at the bottom. Took me a long time to get the hang of this business because I didn't have all the tools that you have available to you today. I didn't have the support. I didn't even have mentors in the business back then. And very, very limited training that amounted to anything. And I, like you, have probably been to several different trainings that were wasting my time. I hear that all the time, and I'm with you. I've been there. I didn't start that way. I started with my wife needing a wash machine. I was broke, running a service station, working my butt off. I was the mechanic as well as the manager of the station. So everything fell upon me. Anyway, I wasn't making any money. Barely getting by. Came home one day and my wife said, we need a new wash machine. And we'd already been married 17 years at that time, 17 years, 4 children. And I told her, there's no way we can afford a new wash machine because we couldn't afford it. Anyway, I went to bed. Both of us went to bed mad, actually, because come on. I tried to sleep. I couldn't sleep. Stayed there all night thinking to myself, what a loser you are. Can't even buy your wife a wash machine to wash your filthy clothes with after you've already been married for 17 years. And I'm not kidding you when I tell you, I remember that night like it was yesterday. And I just laid there all night and I said to myself, I'm not going to live like this. I'm not going to spend the rest of my life pinching pennies and doing the things that I really don't want to do, but I think I had to do. I started looking. Didn't know what I was looking for, but I started looking. And then I saw an ad said, come learn how to buy real estate with no money or credit. I knew that was a hoax. That couldn't have been true. It had to be a scam, even back then in 1982. But I went. Something compelled me to go. And I even had to miss J.R. Ewing on Dallas on TV to go. That was a big deal to me, believe me. He was my hero. So I went to that 2-hour preview, and they put me into a 2-day seminar about 2 weeks later. I didn't have the money. I had to borrow it, but I got in there. Something just told me, you've got to get in there. And of course, that was a turning point for me, big one. And that 2-day seminar changed my life, my family's life, thousands and thousands of lives that I've touched since, all because I have made that simple decision to go to a seminar. You see, you never know when your turning point is. You never know when the thing that you think is an insignificant thing is actually a big thing. Look at all the people that are in real estate because I attended that seminar today. So, that kind of thing keeps me going. I've pretty much everything in the industry that I pretty much had a hand in building. You ain't going around 44 years without contributing something to the business. All right, so we just celebrated our 60th wedding anniversary last September. So now when Beverly wants a truck, she gets a truck. When she wants a washing machine, she don't even need to ask me, just order it. All right, there's several ways you're going to make money in real estate. I'm going to cover a couple of them tonight, that's all. And in order for you to grab this stuff, I'm going to have to change your thinking or do my best at it. Because I'm in front of a lot of people all throughout the year, and the same old people come to me, and their reason is to put more cash flow in their life. They come from all walks of life, from surgeons all the way down to the unemployed. Everybody needs more cash flow. Everybody needs a better retirement. And so I can provide them both, but we got to change your thinking about real estate, because most of the stuff you're probably thinking right now just is not true. And you learn this stuff from people who have no idea what they're talking about. And once you learn the reality of the real estate, you find it's nowhere near as complicated as you might be thinking right now. Well, I not only got to change your thinking about real estate, if you'll give me a chance, but I also have got to change your thinking about how much money you can make in it and how much you're worthy of receiving. Because people come with a low opinion of how much they can. Been all my life working, swapping hours for dollars. I never made more than blank. What makes you think I can make more? I don't think you can make more. I know you can make more if you decide it's time for you. Only when the student is ready can the teacher appear. Wholesaling has always been a fast way to get money. In fact, that's exactly what most people get into the business for, either wholesaling or rehabbing and retailing. And we wholesale here as well. Very, very simple. It's so simple, anybody can wholesale a house. Now let's see how much money you need. There's one we wholesaled. I hope that's not your dream house by any imagination. Now look at the numbers. I want you to look at these very closely. In fact, take a picture of this if you want. All right. This house was worth about $175 renovated. And I'm here in Jacksonville, Florida. That's a cheap house for here as well. We figured it'd need about $40,000 to $50,000 worth of repairs on it. I had no intentions of doing any repairs. $50,000 worth of repairs is probably what it would have cost us, give or take. So we put it under contract for 48. We sold it for 85. It took all of 9 days to get in and get out. We did not buy the house. We did not spend any money except the $10 deposit. We did not have, I don't even need a lawyer to assign a contract to. What we did was put it under contract with the seller and then advertise that contract. So the buyer was a rehabber, bought the contract, and then closed on the house. And that's the way it's done pretty much all over the country. Don't do that, though, until you check with your attorney and make sure that it's still okay to assign a contract. And then if it isn't, come back and I'll show you how to do it anyway. All right. There's 3 or 4 states that have outlawed assigning a contract. By the way, they haven't outlawed wholesaling. They've outlawed assigning a contract. We can wholesale houses without assigning the contract. So anyway, that's a good example. $37,000 for doing what? Getting the contract, selling the contract. Look at this one. 52 grand net. It was worth 230 fixed. Take at least 50 to fix it, I think. So we sold it for 112,000, leaving the new buyer plenty of room to rehab it and make a bunch of money in it. Now here's what it looked like. That might give you a hint why we bought it so cheap. And by the way, all of these come from for sale by owners. There's none of these come out of MLS. You're working in the MLS today, I'm suggesting you're probably wasting your time, or you're going to grossly overpay for these houses, because we have a whole society full of greater fools out there that'll pay way too much because they've had poor training and they're getting the lessons the hard way. I'd rather not buy a house than pay too much for it. One of the things I want to teach you. This one made $27,000 on that one, took 35 days. Made only 15 on that one, took 16 days. Look at here, we're down to the bottom now. I don't really want to do any kind of deal unless we can get $20,000 in the first 30 to 60 days out of that deal. So, you know, that last 2 here are below our standards, but on the other hand, you're not going to get $52,000 out of all of them that you do as well. The average on these things is about $20,000 or so across the country. Now, $27,000 for what? Getting a contract signed, putting an ad, and let them beat your doors down to get it. Remember, when we sell these to investors, they're buying a business opportunity. This is not a hard thing to sell. They're buying a way to make some money. But tonight I want to talk about the pretty house business, because that's where the really big bucks are. And I'll prove it to you. We call them the modern day money machine. These are beautiful homes needing no repairs. Some come with a mortgage and some don't, already on them. We're never going to use credit. We never, ever, ever are going to use our credit on Planet Ron, folks. We don't guarantee debt. That's the biggest mistake you can make. And you write that down, and sooner or later, it's going to hit you right between the eyes. Now I know what the heck he's talking about. Guaranteeing debt means you are building your empire on a house of cards. You're a slave to the lender. Some things that can go wrong to take you out. And I've seen many, many, many people go out of business because they guaranteed debt. And, you know, kind of like in 08, for example, we didn't have any choice down here in Florida. Our prices dropped down 40,000 or 40% on these houses. Think about all those folks that had that guaranteed debt out there. Now they owe more on the houses than what they're worth. Don't put yourself in that position. We are going to operate with non-recourse debt, which means we're not guaranteeing any debt. We're going to buy a lot of debt. We're going to get a lot of debt. And you'll see how we do that in just a minute, but we're not personally guaranteeing it. So make sure that I hope you're listening, and I hope you pay attention, because the minute you start guaranteeing debt, you're heading downward. And there's only so much debt you're going to guarantee before they cut you off anyway. You risk your credit, you risk your assets, and you might risk your marriage. Not worth doing it just to buy a house. Plenty of houses you can buy without going to the bank and getting a loan. And not allowed on Planet Ron. So let's look at a business where you don't need to borrow any money and you don't need to guarantee any debt to the seller's lender or to the seller. No guarantees, no terms, no deals. There's 3 kinds of terms. One, I can lease the house from the seller with the option to buy. And then I could sandwich lease it, what we call it, or put a tenant buyer in the house, and they'll have the option to buy. Now, make sure that their option to buy is for more than your option to buy to the seller. The difference is going to be your profit. Owner financing. That's what I do mostly, owner financing. I buy them on wraparound mortgages or deeds of trust. Some people buy them subject to. It's a discussion for a later time. That's called getting the deed. So I'm either giving a mortgage back to the seller or I'm just taking over a debt that's already on the property, whatever the case may dictate. That's the terms business right there. So our first payday is a big non-refundable option deposit from the tenant buyer. Now, I won't put a tenant buyer in a house that doesn't give me at least 5% of the sales price as a non-refundable option deposit that is applicable toward their down payment. See? So it's not a security deposit, and it's measured in thousands, not hundreds, okay? It's an option deposit. So when they get ready to go buy, then they get credit for that right toward their down payment. And here's here's the reason you want to be in the terms business. Okay, it's not just one paycheck. It's multiple streams of income for years and years and years. Number one, I get that upfront deposit, which is thousands. And landlords, listen up. You got tenants in houses. I don't know why. It's time for you to convert to tenant buyers, in this old guy's opinion, because tenant buyers will give you a lot of money up front and they take care of the repairs. That's a condition of their option. So I don't do repairs on these houses. They get in there and they're responsible for 100% of it. I get debt pay down. I get appreciation. A lot of people got rich just because they own properties the last 2 or 3 years when they went up like a rocket. And I also get the depreciation, which people totally ignore. The depreciation is nothing to ignore. It's Uncle Sam helping you pay for the property. Forfeited down payments. I mean, I hesitate to say this sometime, but most of my tenant buyers don't ever buy. It has nothing to do with me. I didn't do anything to them. I keep my promises. But I don't know, you get in the house, they're tired of it, they don't like the neighbors, or all the other reasons. Think about it: health reasons, job reasons, got to transfer, numerous reasons why they just don't buy. I think a lot of it's just they get tired of the house and they want to do something else. But that's okay with me, because if they don't buy, they move and they forfeit their deposit. That simple, clearly spelled out up front with an attorney involved. And then you get the back end debt paid or back end profit when they do cash you out, if they ever do. And I'm going to give you examples of that on my house here coming up shortly. One of my houses. Money now, money monthly, money later. We call them the golden geese because they just keep on laying them golden eggs. And I love the golden geese. Unlike wholesales and rehabs, where the poor goose has got to die because you sold the house. And sometimes you're going to want to let the goose die. I get it. Look, everybody wants cash. I understand. And you should build your cash in your account. But if you need money to buy groceries, you probably want to do the quick deals like wholesaling. And some of these terms deals are quick as well because of that big front end deposit. That front end deposit on my pretty houses was probably as much as most rehabbers make rehabbing their house, doing all that work, taking all that time, taking all that risk. My deposit that I get in a few days is sometimes bigger than their total profit on those rehab houses. I've got rehabbed about 1,000 houses, friends. I know exactly what it is, and then I teach it. But when you compare it to the other ways you got to make money, it's at the bottom of the pile. And certainly not have the grief. All right, let's do a comparison here. I want to shoot that one. You get a big check, whether it's wholesale, retail, or terms. But notice that my yeses start dropping off there. I don't get any cash flow when I'm flipping the junker. No appreciation, no depreciation, no debt reduction, no tax cuts, none of that. Pay maximum taxes. You pay about half of that amount when you had the house for a year or more. You don't need very much time to do this business. 90% of the work, and I mean 90% of the work, is done by either someone else or some other company. Because we're going to outsource everything today. We spent a lot of years building this outsourcing team for you so that you can use them and cut down on your work. And look, I don't want to make you do more labor. I want you to do less labor. I'll tell you right now that the less I do, the more I make is one that I live by and have for a long, long time. Your job is to make decisions. And if you want that book, incidentally, it's on Amazon. The less I do, the more I make. By me. So there's two types of houses you're going to run across. There's the free and clear houses, and then there's houses with debt. Do you know what about 1/3 of the houses in this country are free and clear? So you got to learn to deal with both of them because there's money in both of them. So here I'm going to use my example. Now I've had this house 11 years. And I picked this house specifically to show you what it's worth to you by not selling everything you get your hands on. Look, if I agree to buy for cash, I sell for cash. If I buy on terms, I sell on terms, meaning I lease option on terms. Right? So I retain the ownership of the terms deals. I get rid of the ones that are cash because I don't want to leave my money or private lender's money in the house. And I don't want to renovate a house and let somebody lease option it from me so I can renovate it later. Right? And so wholesale deals, obviously, we're turning them quickly. That's the whole purpose of them, unless you want to rehab them. Either way, I don't look at terms business that way. Okay? I don't want to sell the houses I get on terms. I want to keep them and turn them into golden geese, and may they live forever. So here's one that I bought specifically to emphasize this point to you. I hope you are wide awake and get this, because this could be a life changer for you. It may change everything you do. All right, I bought this house, beautiful home, 3,300 square feet in a gorgeous neighborhood right up the street from my own home, gated with a gate, not a person, but a gate. It's just in 3-year-old houses, what they were when I got this one. And this couple lived in this house for 3 years. They built it new, and then he had to move to St. Louis. And I paid $351 because that's what the seller owed on it. The seller told us from the very beginning he'd sell for what he owes. And friends, you're going to get a lot of those, especially in today's market with the low equity properties. I'll come back to that in a minute. So I sat down there. We got a contract. 7 days later, I owned the house. They agreed to move in 2 weeks, and they did. And they left the thing perfectly clean, ready to show. Didn't even have to clean the windows. There was a $1,925 payment on it, and he knew very well he couldn't pay for that here and then move out to St. Louis and have another place to live out there. So I took over his $351,000 loan. The seller didn't ask for any money, and I gave him what he asked for. No money, period. I did pay the closing costs because I wanted to buy the house. I could have leased it with an option to buy without any cost whatsoever, but I wanted to own the house. And you're going to see why here in just a minute. So I sold it on the market on a lease purchase, raised the price to $395, and they gave me a $50,000 non-refundable option deposit. Now, before you ask, come on, who's going to give you 50 grand? People that have $400,000 houses, that want or have $400,000 or more. Think about this. If somebody wanted to buy this house and it was over the FHA limit, they'd probably need 20% down. Okay. He put more down than he would need on FHA. In fact, his loan was a VA loan. He didn't put anything down at the beginning to buy it. So when I put it on the market, I didn't name the $50,000 price, and I didn't name the $2,500 monthly rent. Might better get that in your head now. I never named the down payment. I never named the monthly rent. We asked the buyer what they can afford. We asked the seller what they'll take. We ask questions. We don't make offers. We ask questions. You'll see that coming up here. I put them in there for 2 years. That's what I always do. And I told them up front, listen, if you can't buy it in 2 years, don't worry about it. I just let you rent it and buy it sometime later, and I'll still give you credit for your deposit. And anyway, I tried to talk them into staying, and they said, no, we're already moved. So I let them go. And then I put it back on the market. And then my executive assistant, Tish, asked me if they could move into it. And I said, yeah, okay. I didn't get my 50 grand, but they've been in it ever since. Okay. Taking care of the house, paying down the debt. So very little money, just closing costs, no credit, no risk, no guaranteed debt, small repairs. In fact, there wasn't any repairs on this one. No banks, no realtors, and no short sales, and none of that complicated crap that scares people. You don't have to do any of that here. We just bought the house. Now, let's say you were looking for a place to live, my friends. I just showed you how to buy it. If you want to go find a nice house like that, anybody live in that house, just take over the debt. Just look for the seller that'll let you do that. If you're going to buy one to live in, you can't go down and pick out a house that's perfect for you, but I'm sure there's plenty of them out there. You can find one that you're thrilled to live in. And like I said, all the responsibility for the repairs passes to my buyer, my tenant buyer, after 30 days. I give them 30 days. Now, think about my houses. This house is 3 years old. It ain't going to need anything in 30 days, for crying out loud. So if it does, I'm happy to pay for it. But anyway, when they get in there, I made it very clear. Listen, when you buy this house, you're going to have to pay for these repairs. So I might as well get practiced up right now so you're prepared for that. And, I say it lightheartedly, but just the same. I want you landlords to ask yourselves, how much money would I put to the bottom line if I didn't have to go out and do any of these repairs on these houses? And they don't call us to do them. We make it clear up front and we put it in writing. The attorney points it out to them. No, they do the repairs. It's a condition of their option. By the way, their option, don't confuse that with a security deposit now, because your lawyers will. It's not security. It's an option deposit. It has nothing to do with a security deposit. But Ron, why don't they just go to the bank? Because they can't. About 70% of the people who would like to buy a home cannot go qualify to buy the home. Now, I pull this off of the web. 35% of them, 35% of them get turned down when they go apply for a loan. And I can assure you there's that many or more that won't go apply because they know they're going to get turned down. That's a big market we got. We're catering to the people who don't have good credit or have some other problem that keeps them from buying. You keep that in your head now. Don't confuse this with these buyers that have good credit and they want to go get a loan. Let the realtors and the builders have them. I don't want them, okay? I want the people that can't go get a loan. I can get a lot more money out of this house than just putting it on the market and selling it and cashing out of it, especially with all those expenses involved in doing that you haven't yet experienced if you haven't retailed and sold a house for cash yet. Anything that they need fixed can be fixed in time. I mean, I got a company that'll raise your credit score about 100 points over 6 or 7 months, for crying out loud. The credit ain't the problem. Not enough down might be the problem, but not in my case. They put $50,000 down. That's enough to buy any house with that they would want. So that wasn't an issue. But then there's a debt ratio problem or can't prove income problem or whatever the problem is. They got more than enough time to fix it. Why most of them don't, I can't tell you. All right. Ron, do you have to put that 50 grand in escrow? No, that 50 grand went into my bank account. There is no escrow, right? Don't confuse this with a realtor. A realtor's got to bring that check to closing, okay? Because they're holding it. I don't have to bring that check to closing because I'm keeping it. No matter what the buyer does, I'm keeping it. If they buy, it goes just credited toward their down payment. If they bail, they don't get it back and they know it right up front. So they don't even ask for it back. So, that clear understanding up front weeds off a lot of issues in the back end. And I've learned to not only make sure they understand everything, but to document it. And that's why we want to close with attorneys. All right. Nope, I can do whatever I want to do with it. I want to go on a vacation with it. I can go. If I want to, buy something with it, I can. I don't do drugs. Maybe I could use it for drugs, but I don't use them. So that's out of the question. Do you know that I'm 79 years old and I never smoked a weed in my whole life? It's true. I did eat a brownie one time that was laced, and I understand why people like that marijuana stuff, but but I'm glad I didn't go down that path. I really am. So Ron, how often will you find a tenant buyer with 50 grand? Well, the answer is not often. Because if you want to find a tenant buyer with 50 grand, you got to get a higher price house where they're willing to put up 50 grand. And I'll say it again. If they're above the FHA limit, they're going to put up 20%. 20% on my $400,000 house was 80 grand. All right. So they didn't have enough to put the down payment down if they were going to go to the bank and get the loan. So anyway, I'm going to get what they want to give me above 5%. By asking them what's the most you can put down. And our 24-hour answering service asks them that before you even get the lead. The deposit is not taxable until your tenant moves out or buys. Check with your CPA on that one because some of them have a different opinion on that simply because it's non-refundable. That's why they might say it's taxable. So how many of those checks you need? Be honest. How many of those checks you need? Listen, I'm going to get a minimum of 20. I'm going to get a minimum of 20. Higher price house, the bigger I'm going to go. If I'm going to sell $1 million house, I ain't letting anybody have the keys with less than $100,000. Period. Now, suppose you got in it and didn't have to give the seller any money, or I don't know, suppose you gave him 25 grand. Okay. I know I'm going to get 100, but I ain't going to get the keys. and they're going to have more than that to put down if they go to the bank or any place else to finance it on those higher end houses. So, don't think for a minute that nobody out there looking for a house has got any money. That's just not the case. And we automatically screen them out. Now, there's your income streams right there. If you want to shoot a shot of that, it's a little easier to read. Save the page. Get all of those things when you do the terms deal. None of them you get when you do the cash deals. Just to check. But Ron, what if they don't buy within 2 years? Well, the answer is we have a party, and then we go find somebody else to put in the house and do it again. First one bails. I gotta tell you guys, I got at least 2 houses that I've collected 6 non-refundable option deposits on. 6 people moved in and decided to move out. Not because of me. I do everything I can to help them if they ask for it. But I've got more money out of those houses on deposits than I paid for the houses. That's the business. They forfeit it if they move. If they don't want to move, I simply keep collecting the rent. I've had a tenant go as far as 11 years, had the option to buy, expired 9 years earlier. 11 years that I can think of. I got one, lived there 11 years and then moved. And then I got another one, had a 2-year term on it that I can think of. She lived there 5 years and then asked me if she could still buy the house. I was shocked. It turns out she got an inheritance. Then I made a deal with her. In fact, she bought the house a lot less than I optioned it to her several years earlier, and I just gave it to her. You want to wake up in the morning and be proud of this business. May the goose live forever. All right, this is a big one. Why would a seller take monthly payments? Okay, well, let me answer that one. I know that's high on your brain right now. So, first of all, we're only dealing with FSBOs. Don't forget that. You aren't doing these terms deals with realtors. Some sellers want a quick sale. Al and I bought one like that not too long ago. She had moved to Vegas and her husband was sick. She hung around here a while to have him treated. And then they went out to Vegas and already bought a house before we even met them. So they're sitting there in an almost empty house waiting to go to Vegas. Quick sale. They wanted a quick sale. Gave them a quick sale. I bought it with owner financing. 5 1/4 house. Bought it for $440. Nothing down out of her mouth. Nothing down. 5-year balloon on the balance. So the thing you gotta not do is to try and make sense of everything. And don't ask why. All right. When you keep asking why, you're not going to buy anything. And remember, it's not you. You're trying to justify why you're doing it. It's them. I don't try to justify it anymore. I quit doing that at least 40 years ago. I don't care why. What and when's all I care about and how. So that house needed nothing. So there's no reason she couldn't have put it on the market, but she knew if a realtor was listing it that she'd have several months worth of payments to make on it. And they were almost $3,000 a month. So I took all of that off her back. I took the stress relief off her back. She had no closing costs. I paid them. She paid no commission on the house. She was happy to give up the distance between 440 and 525 just to get out of the house. And I'm buying it as is. And in this case, that house needed very little. In fact, I don't think it needed anything. But sometimes the seller can't or won't do what it takes to get it on the market, like you would if you enlisted with a realtor. Sometimes it's got little issues, like maybe it smells like cat urine or something like that. That don't bother me. I can fix those little things very quickly and very inexpensively, where the seller can't or won't. And they can get a higher price from me. Any seller that I buy a house from on terms is going to make a lot more money than they would make with any other investor trying to buy it for cash. No, nobody's going to pay what I pay if they're buying it for cash. So, like that one I showed you a minute ago, cost $351 is only worth $385. Seller was happy to give up that equity to get it sold. And if they'd have sold it with a realtor, my goodness, there wouldn't have been much left anyway by the time they covered all those costs. They didn't have any costs when I bought it. I paid their closing costs for them, which is a general rule. If their seller's not getting any money, which in my case is most of the time, then I'm going to pay the closing cost. I'm not going to ask them to come to closing with a check. They don't like realtors, or Realtors don't like them because the house is not ready to sell and they can't get it ready to sell. And sometimes you'll find an elderly couple that just don't want to get a lump sum because they don't want their kids to have a lump sum. So believe it or not, and I can understand that because I would be one of them. Now look at this. Listen closely. About 75% of the time, when you are discussing terms with a seller, they have an underlying mortgage that they have a payment on, which is the biggest reason people are happy to sell on terms. But most of them don't even know that they can. I don't give the seller any money. When I buy a house, I'm taking over the debt most of the time. The seller don't have any money coming, like the one I just showed you. So I picked it's a great example. I just took over their debt on a wraparound mortgage. My land trust owes them the same amount that they owe the bank, and my debt to them goes down the same dollar per dollar as the bank debt goes down. So it's not like I'm making the seller any payments. In fact, I don't make the seller payments, period, unless their house is free and clear. So I just send the payment to them. I love it because there's all kinds of ways that I can work the seller financing stuff and for the benefit of me, which I can't do with any bank loan. So I'm usually just taking over the debt. Sometimes give them a little bit of money to move on. Most of the time, they're not getting a dime. They're just happy to get rid of the debt or whatever is motivating them. I hope you got that. If you didn't get that, put a note up there and let me know. We call it seller financing, but the seller, well, I guess the seller is financing it, but they're not collecting money. I make my payments directly to the bank, and that's not an option with me. I'm not making any seller a payment that they're going to turn right around and give to the bank. I learned my lesson on that one. I'm sending it directly to the bank, and they're going to sign a little statement at closing, giving me permission to do that. So how many sellers do I need to call to get a deal, Ron? The answer is, I don't know. Depends on your source of leads and your training. I'll train you on how to handle that phone, and I'll give you the scripts. In fact, you should have the scripts, and don't throw those things away. Those are $1 million scripts, and I mean that sincerely. Tested for years and years. They work. So how much training have you have? Because if you haven't had the training, you're probably going to mess up the call right on that end. When you talk to the seller, you're going to destroy your own deal and don't even realize how you're doing it. I got a list of 14 mistakes people make on the telephone. And the two biggest things you got to focus on in this business is generating leads and handling the closing call. Almost all the rest of it is done for you. So first thing is, this is our property information sheet. When a lead comes in, if it comes in by phone, it's going to our 24-hour answering service. If it comes in on our webpage, then you're going to get it. And on your webpage, you'll get most of these questions answered. But once you get this filled out, then you're going to pick up the phone. You're going to call the seller. And I'm going to give you the scripts to do that in just a second. But I want you to take a look at, I've already given you the scripts. We'll go over in just a second. Take a look at A and B down there in the middle. A says, will you sell for what you owe? Okay. That's a very important question. If and only if what they're asking is close to what they owe. If it is, most of them would gladly give it away, okay, and say yes. But now, let's say you're trying to buy a house for $300 and they only owe $200 on it, and you ask them that question. Well, that makes you sound foolish and loses all the trust that they had with you. You're asking me to sell it for $200 when I'm asking for $300. Get off my telephone and go away. You must have been to some seminar somewhere. So you got to use some common sense. All right. My example, they owed $351. It was only worth $285, and the realtor couldn't get it sold for that. You might say that's a lot of equity. That's nothing. At the time they sold it, paid all the costs, there wouldn't be hardly anything left. And even then, how many payments would they have to make before they'd even get a sale, if they got a sale? So it was a big deal for the seller to get out of the house as quick as they could. Now, B is a pre-screening question before you even go any further. By the way, your virtual assistants will fill these out for you. We have the virtual assistants, okay? And they're going to ask these questions. And B says, well, listen, sometimes we pay by cash, and sometimes we just make you payments till you're paid off in the future. Obviously, the cash offer is going to be way less than the terms offers. Would you consider other options other than all cash? Then it's yes or it's no. If it's yes, we call it a yes lead. If it's no, we call it a no lead. It don't matter because we're going to call them all back, because no don't mean no. No means that they didn't quite understand what you asked them, so they said no. That's human nature, I guess. Sorry, there they are blown up. I've incorporated them into your scripts when you get them on the phone. This is what the VA asks them for you. And they're inexpensive, virtual assistants. And you're going to get very far in the business, you're going to need virtual assistants because they're taking care of all the grunt work for you. We'll get you information on those later. I'm going to give you 7 ways in this course, this term system, to generate leads. And many of them are free for you to get. Some of them cost a little bit of money. Like if you want to put out signs, that's a very little bit of money. You want to put signs on your car, it's a very little bit of money. Some of them cost more money because you're hiring somebody else to generate these leads and before you even get them, so you don't have to pay more. So you get to choose. I've got about 35 different ways to generate leads from sellers, but I don't want to overload you anyway on this system. You got more than you need right in this system. And we'll get you information on the VA service. For a couple $100 a month, you can literally have most of the stuff you need done and replace as an employee. Now you want to write this one down. Take a picture of this. Pat Live is your 24-hour answering service. They're really great. They're students over in Tallahassee area from the college. And it's only a couple $100 a month for them to answer all your incoming calls, no matter what they are, from buyers and sellers. Get that, patlive.com/Ron LeGrand, and go check it out for yourself. They've already got any scripting you need done, buyers and sellers. They know exactly what you need. And just tell them you're coming through me, and they'll know exactly where to place you then. This is a must-have. Frankly, if you don't get signed up with Pat Live, that means you're going to be answering all these calls all hours of the day and night, and that's going to last maybe a week, and you're going to get tired of that. So that's one of the first things you want to get set up just as soon as you're ready to take calls from sellers. Means you don't have to waste hours on the telephone. The less I do, the more I make. Friends, I live by that. All right. So once the virtual assistant fills out the property information sheet, then they're sent to you for you to call. Make that short, quick 2 to 3 minute call is all you're going to make, because most of them you're not going to do business with. It might not surprise you to know that most sellers want all cash and they want full price. Can you imagine that? The nerve of these people. And what are you going to want when you get ready to sell? However, a bunch of them don't need all cash and don't need retail price. What percentage of them, I don't know, because I can't tell you what percentage until you tell me where you're going to get the list from, because some lists are better than other lists. And trust me, we got a system where you can pick your list, and I'll get to that in a minute here, but you're going to love the way we pick our list. Now you just you get them on the phone and you read the appropriate script to them and let them answer for you, thus making you an offer. If you remember that A, is we sell for what you owe. Now, if they say no, you check no. That doesn't mean you don't read that bottom paragraph, because sometimes the asking price and the loan amount is pretty close. And if they say no, you might assume, well, that means that they got to have all that money, and just not true. Okay, they might need enough money just to move. So you ask them the second one down there. How much do you want for your equity, and if I take over your debt? Now here's your closing script. This is a big one. Multi-million-dollar script right here. It'll make you money, save you a lot of time if you just listen and you implement what we ask you to do. Now you're looking at the top half of it here, but I want you to just read this first paragraph. It says, "Hey John, this is Ron calling you about the house you discussed with my assistant yesterday. You got a minute?" Now, what you don't do is say, "Hey, is this John Smith?" Instant telemarketer. No. "Hey, John." If the property information sheet says that John Smith owns the house and a man answers, "It's John." All right. And then you're going to immediately tell them who you are. "Ron called about the house." Now, all of a sudden, boom, you got their attention. And then, depending on what your PI sheet says, listen, the information I got here says that you're not interested in any other options other than all cash. Is that correct? He says, "Well, yeah." I say, "Well, so you don't want to listen to other options?" If he insists on it, fine, done. Conversation over. Nothing I can do for him. Okay? But now if he says, "Well, yeah, I listen to other options," you go on right down in your script, and there's all the reasons down on. You've got the scripts. I think you should be looking at this on your own. Go down, all the reasons right down the line there. why he might reconsider. And by the time you get down to the bottom of that script, you got a definite yes or no, I don't want it, I got cash, or yeah, I'll listen to other options. All right. So that script is giving him other options. That has been improved a dozen times, and I'm telling you, it works all over the country, and it's the reason that we get deals by not spending a lot of time, wasting time, pre-screening dead leads to begin with. So this is what you're going to ask them until you replace yourself, which you can easily do, somebody else to make these calls, and screen them out quick. So the object is you want to get as many property information sheets coming across your desk every week as you possibly can, because without them, you don't have a business. You got nobody to call. We don't make offers. $1 million script, I believe, is coming up here. I don't know. Anyway, here's what it says. If you get a positive result down at the bottom of that closing script, now you're going to go to the $1 million script, which is only 3 questions. All right. Well, John, listen, it says here that you want 350 for the house. Is that the least you could take? John's going to come down a little. All right. So you're telling me if I don't pay you that, I shouldn't buy the house? And then you'll know very quickly where his head is. Now, don't ask him more than twice, because I don't want to over negotiate on the house that I haven't even seen before, which the seller knows I haven't seen. All right. You just turn them off. Second question, get this one now, because this is the biggie. John, we usually buy nothing with nothing down. Okay. Shut up. Wait for answer. Right? You're going to be absolutely flabbergasted when you learn about half of them say, okay, all right, and shut up and move to the third question. But if they don't say, they say, no, I need some money. Okay, what would you have in mind? What's the least you could take? And you work that on down. Sometimes they need moving money. All right. Adel had one yesterday. They said they need a little bit of money. I said, okay, ask them how much is a little bit of money first, and let them make you an offer. And the last question is, if it's got a loan on it underneath, your question is, I assume you're okay with me making your payments till we're paid off? And shut up, wait for the answer. If they say, okay, you just got, you don't have any balloon. You got the whole term. You can keep making payments till the loan, underlying loan is paid off. And of course, if it's free and clear, it's a different line. What's the least you could take per month? It's totally negotiable, and that gives you a chance to get a much lower payment. So anyway, the scripts do the work for you, and it don't take much to pick up the phone and get a yes or no answer. And then I even have an appointment script, for crying out loud, okay? When you get a yes answer, now you want to make an appointment. You don't want to do it without the script, because there's some very important points within that appointment script that'll keep you from chasing your rainbows, chasing your tail, really. John, Ron, I hate making phone calls. It scared me to death. Well, you know, I wonder how hard it would be for you to get somebody else to make these calls for you, right? For peanuts. And you're going to give them the same scripts. All they got to do is learn to read the script and report the results back to you. And of course, you got to test them, and you got to make sure they're doing it the way you want them to do it before you turn them loose. But I mean, like peanuts, you're going to pay them. A little part-time income for anybody that wants to talk to people and is not afraid of people and wants to get on the phone. I mean, they ain't likely going to spend hours and hours at it. They're only going to get so many leads a week. It's only going to take them so many minutes to make these calls. And I give them $1,000 for every house I buy on top of that. Would you make 5 to 10 calls a week, averaging 3 minutes if you were making 20 grand? How many calls would you make to get 20 grand? How many hours do you work now for 20 grand? Now all you got to do is go to the house when the appointment is made and walk around and look at it. And remember, you're a welcome guest, not an unwanted pest. They invited you to come to their house. They need you way more than you need them. The agreements, man, I don't have many of those because I've got one to buy and one to sell, and one to lease purchase from the seller, and one to put a tenant buyer in the house. They're all in this system. Every one of those are in this system with filled out blanks for you to use. And these aren't the 5-page agreements. Realtors do all that kind of stuff. We don't need an agreement that heavy. And remember that realtors are doing everything to try to cover all the angles that could come up on a house when you're only half of them you're even apply to your situation. Now let's suppose you want to replace an $80,000 job. For some, that's giving you some. For some, that's not near enough. I get it. I hope it's not near enough, because that'll get you the inspiration you need to get out here and get working. All right, let's suppose you want to replace it. Now, incidentally, folks, I don't suggest to anybody that you go quitting your job until you got money coming in that you can depend on that will replace your job. Quitting your job and just starting a business is not a smart thing to do because you got no income. And when you got no income, it creates a lot of problems within a marriage. It could even go as far as costing your marriage because you don't have this real estate thing working for you yet. Don't you dare quit your job until you see this thing bringing in money. You hear that, ladies? Don't let him. That's 4 deals, $4 $20,000 front end profits a year. Come on, give me a break. Been many, many, many months. I've done more than 4 a month. Once I change your thinking, I'm going to move your mindset up to higher price properties as well, because you know that the more money you wallow in, the more sticks to you. So, $1 million house where some of you live, that's no big deal. You know, where some of you live, that's our $300,000 house. Which is fine. I'd rather deal in the higher price stuff, right? And that means I can get a bigger down payment. And I can get in still. You'll be surprised how many $1 million houses you can get into without giving the seller a big down payment. You'll be shocked to you. I tell you right now, till you get out here in the field, you're not going to see this stuff is really reality. The bank would want 200 grand down on $1 million house. I don't need it. I'll take 100. Bank needs good credit. I don't care if you have good credit or not, just soon you have bad credit. It just means you're going to be in my house longer. One of these a year. If you do one of these larger houses a year, come on, there's your job replacement right there. More dollars you wallow in, the more stick to you. So Ron, why are these houses so easy to sell? The answer is terms. You're selling them on terms. You're selling them on a lease purchase. That means there's no banks involved. And that means that all they got to do is convince you are the loan committee. You know, I'm definitely going to teach you how to do that as well. And that's all in the system, how to sell these houses. House on terms, 10 times easier to sell than one that they got qualified for. We got a slow market in this country right now. Slow for buyers, not slow for tenant buyers. Okay, people are still wanting to buy houses, but they're trying to wait for the rates to come down. Well, they can rent from me until the rates come down and go get a loan whenever they want to get it, which is a good selling point when you're putting people in these houses, incidentally. Make it easy to buy and it becomes easy to sell. You are the committee. No cost to sell terms. Listen to this. When you're selling a house with terms, all you need is one ad with the key unique selling propositions in it, like lease purchase, like no qualifying, like easy terms or something like that. Watch what happens when you put that on a couple of sites like Facebook Marketplace and Craigslist. Okay, those unique selling propositions are going to drive those calls into you. And now it's just a matter of selecting the right one based on how much they can put down and how much they can pay per month. It's not about finding sellers, it's about picking the one you like out of the batch. Again, 70% of the people looking to buy a house cannot qualify at the bank. Keep that in your head. That's a huge market where you live. In fact, if you don't believe me, go to your newspaper or the website that has your newspaper. Look anywhere you can find for sale by owner ads and see how many of them say lease option in them. You got the whole market to yourself, most likely. So it's not about getting out of them. It's about getting them in them. And you get out of them very quickly when they don't have to go to the bank. So here's how it works. It's all automated for you. Okay. If I'm doing something that triggers them to make a phone call, that phone call is going to go to Pat Live. Pat Live's got about 6 questions to ask them, and then they send them directly to you. Then you send them to your virtual assistant to call them until they get them on the phone to fill out the property information sheet. And they do that every day, all day. They're very good at it. That comes back to you. Now, what are you doing while all of this is going on? Nothing. Everybody's working for you. You're not doing anything. Okay. Now, when you get the PI sheet, you take a few minutes and you call them. Now, that's going to determine whether you're going to go to their house or not. And most of them you're not. I mean, I'm going to tell you right now, most of them are worthless leads, but you got to go through that in any business to get to the people who want to do business with you. So call goes to Pat Live 24 hours. And then information comes to you by text and email, or one of the both. Then you send it to your VA. VA makes call, PI sheet comes at you. You're beginning to see a system here. Then you and your VA calls the ones with money. Now, I got a lead. If I'm selling houses, I'm only going to call the ones with money to give them a lockbox code. If I'm talking to a seller, I'm going to go call them and use my script and determine whether I'm going to make an appointment. So, Pat, I was going to take both calls from both buyers and sellers. The question they ask them is, are you calling to buy or sell? And that'll pop up the right screen for them to ask the right questions. Totally systemized, ladies and gentlemen, totally systemized. And I'll tell you something that you may not know, that when our Pat Lives are calling these folks, they can't get more than about half of them to pick up the phone after 3 tries. 3 tries. That's the world we live in. And you wonder why people who list their own houses have a hard time selling them. They won't even pick up the phone. So then you're going to text them, and you get many replies off of texting them if you can't get them to pick up the telephone. Yes, I have a script to call the buyers, and it's a darn good one. But you don't need to call very many buyers. So I got this house, and I'm ready to sell it, put a lockbox on it, okay, which I get at Home Depot or Lowe's. And now I run the ad and getting them to contact me. And a lot of them are calling you are a waste of your time. In this case, it's a waste of anybody's time. So when they call Pat Live and you're trying to sell a, I don't know, $400,000 house, and they got all of $10,000 to put down, that's up to you whether you want to give them a lockbox code or not. You know, I would tell them I'm going to need a lot more than that down. So there's no need for them to get in the house. Yeah, I'll put you on my buyer's list, and you call me when you're ready to buy. Maybe you can raise some more money if you want that house. Or if you want me to, I'll put you on our buyer's list, and I'll call you something you could get into for $10,000, but it won't be nearly as nice as this one. In other words, they got no money, they get a no key. Okay, no reason to give them a key to look at a house you already know they're not going to buy. There's a lot of traffic through the house, and I'll promise you, on this lease option thing, you ain't going to have but 2 or 3 people tops to go through the house. Of course, one of them is going to want it. It has enough money to satisfy you. And the house stays on the market until you literally, they literally meet the attorney, usually virtually, because you've already accepted them. I got that whole process of selling in the system for you, piece by piece. And you don't show houses. We don't need to show houses. They show themselves. What kind of people are going to be looking at our nice houses in our nice neighborhood? Right? This ain't the people that you're concerned about in junk areas, in war zones. This is totally different breed of human beings. These people, they're lease option buyers. Don't ever name the down payment. Don't ever name the monthly payment. Don't ever do that, or you won't get these high payments and these high down payments. Shut up and let them make you an offer. And you know that applies to anything and everything you do inside and outside of real estate. You never know what the market's going to do until the market speaks. You can't second guess it. They don't know it, but they're kind of having a silent auction. And you can use your Roth IRA. You can use your Roth IRA, especially on the lease purchases. Do everything inside your Roth, no taxes, watch your money grow exponentially because you're not paying taxes on the gain. How do I know it'll work here? Well, do you have any reason to believe it won't? Are there houses where you live? Are there people who want to buy those houses where you live? If the answer is yes, they'll work here. There's no place that doesn't work. Right? You know, I've been to a lot of different markets. Some of them high price, some of them low price. Doesn't matter. There's always going on between buyers and sellers. And some people ask me, what's the best place to do this in the country? And I say, where you live. Can't do it where you live. You won't do it anywhere else either. I haven't seen a city yet where it won't work. So no matter what you do in life, others are going to try to steal your dreams, and you better be careful, friends, because that's exactly what's going to happen. That won't work here. That's a scam. Real estate's down right now. Blah, 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 blah. Now, make yourself a note. Next time somebody wants to tell you that, ask them, are they doing any real estate? And the answer will be no. Okay. And even if it's yes, they're not doing real estate. They're just trying to steal your dreams. Unknowingly or knowingly, you know, they might tell you, well, I'm just trying to help. All right, thank you for the information. Get out of here, go away. Leave me alone. Now, when you start getting your checks, that's the fun part. You make copies of your checks, and you always keep one on you. We call them the shut up checks. Somebody wants to get in your face and tell you why it won't work here. Hold out that check. Shut up. Go away. You don't know anything. Be careful to whom you listen. And I mean, I don't care if they have initials after their name or not. That does not make them qualified to give you advice on something they know little or nothing about. You're not going to get advice from your CPA on how to make money. How would he know? If he knew how to make money, he wouldn't be doing the CPA stuff. You're not going to get advice from your doctor or even your lawyer. If your lawyer knew how to do what we do, he probably wouldn't be a lawyer anymore, because there's 10 times more money in this than any lawyer is going to make. Broke people can't teach you how to get rich, but they all have an endless supply of knowledge, don't they? Advice anyway. It's worth what it costs, nothing. So here's your chance right now. I'm going to give you a chance to get into Planet Ron very, very inexpensively and give you all the tools you need to go out and do terms deals, both buying and leasing with an option to buy. All right. Down to, you get everything you need in this system to go out and do it. How to generate leads. Remember, you got to do that first. How to get sellers to make you an offer. The scripts in there, how to handle yourself on the telephone, and don't blow away good deals because you didn't know how to handle some situation, or you didn't know, or you didn't even know what the answer was to something that the seller asked you. Don't worry about it. That's one of my scripts. One of my 14 mistakes people make. I show you how to counter that one quickly and get them right back into the conversation. You're gonna then, we're gonna get to, why don't you, let's see, you and I work on getting your first one first, and then we work on maybe getting to the next one and the next one. And by the time you get to that third one, you got this thing nailed pretty much. And frankly, you won't need anybody else even to help you. But we're going to be helping you here. And today I'm going to give you a chance to get in. It's not going to tell you everything you need to know about everything we do, but it's going to give you enough to get out there and make some money in a terms business and build your own empire and build residual income, that lasts for years and years and years. Create a flock. In fact, I want you to get out there and buy as many houses as you can as fast as you can go without guaranteeing debt. Without guaranteeing debt. Okay? So there's nothing stopping you from buying those. There's no application. There's nobody to apply to. The only signature you need is the seller's. Okay? It's called residual income, and you're building your entire wealth. All the time you're building your residual income, you're building all those other goodies. Debt pay down, appreciation, depreciation. And then here's a business within the business that Al and I were discussing the other day that brings me back to the 2009, 2008. Our values dropped 40% here in Florida. Took years for them to come back. Well, they did with a vengeance. But here's what I learned during that process. Now, friends, this literally is a business in a business because you're targeting one kind of property, and that's low equity deals. Low equity means they don't have much equity. A lot of them are VA loans. They bought them with nothing down, and the only equity they got is what they've gained in the last 2 or 3 years. In fact, take a picture of this one right here. We have a thing called Dreams Pro AI. Dreams Pro AI is your operating system, and within it, you can pull a mailing list of sellers with different motivations. Those motivations are right in front of you. In other words, see what a circle is. We can pull a list of houses that have low equity in them. Means the seller hasn't been in them the buyer hasn't been in them more than maybe 1 to 3 years. But most of them are highly financed, very little equity in them, but they have some. And problem today is of the interest rates, we're going to have higher payments. On the other hand, that higher payment can usually be matched with a tenant buyer. But even if it can't, the worst case is you take a short-term negative cash flow in order to get these beautiful homes in these beautiful neighborhoods. And I want you to go out and get all the non-recourse debt you can get. Millions of dollars worth of non-recourse debt. Recourse means you're not liable for it. You're not guaranteeing the debt. And when you buy a house with non-recourse debt, I hesitate to tell you this because people take it the wrong way sometimes, but the worst that can happen to you is you lose the house. They can't get your credit. They can't come after you for money because you didn't guarantee any debt. So the worst can happen is you lose the house. Give it back to the seller if it don't work out. So quit worrying about what if I don't pay it off by that 5 years. What if? You just call a seller and say, here's the deal. You got a couple of choices. Do you want it back or you want to extend the term? Huh? Which one do you think they're going to want to do? So anyway, low equity is what I'm talking about right now. So that's the one that I want to focus on. You can pull up a list of low equity houses, any area you want to pull them up in, any price range you want to pull them up in, minimum bedrooms and minimum bathrooms and all of that, and produce a list where you live of only low-end houses or low equity houses. Sorry. These houses are usually almost always above the median price house where you live. And again, they're not very old. And that means they're in excellent condition. Now you do a postcard, our Dreams Pro AI. In fact, write that down, dreamspro.ai. Go check it out for yourself. They got mailing pieces you can mail. And I think they're working on actually letting them use your mailing piece if you want them to. They can mail it cheaper than you can mail it. Some cases they can mail it cheaper than you can buy a stamp for. So it's all hands off. All right. You pick your list and you decide you want to mail to that list, and you can put 5 different mail pieces, 5 different things you can do to keep on top of them until they respond to you. I'm telling you what, that's going to change your business right there. Is help you find, help you target people that are exactly what you're looking for. If you're looking for what I'm talking about right now. So I'm going to say it again. You might have a negative cash flow. Let me get to it when I get to it. Sorry. There they are. Newer houses, excellent condition, small equity, extremely motivated sellers. Hey, Adel, come here and grab a mic and tell them what extremely motivated sellers means. Okay. Fact. Remember that house? He was one of them.
Yes, sir. Really motivated. So these low equity ones, these sellers are basically begging you to take the house. I mean, they just want out. They want you to cover the payment. They made a mistake or they have to relocate or whatever the case may be. And I mean, they text you, they let you in the house, do showings. I had one that was living in the house last year. She was texting me daily. Did you find someone? Did you find someone? I said, geez, I just got the contract last night.
Yeah. All right. So, they once they get a hold of you and you're going to come out and look at the house, they're begging you to get out and look at the house. What are you waiting on? And they'll do pretty much anything you ask them to do.
Yep.
Because they got a problem. They know if they don't do something, they're going to go into foreclosure.
Yep.
Can you imagine how many foreclosures I've saved over my lifetimes? I can't even imagine. So that's why I'm telling you might want to target this. Now, again, you might have a negative cash flow. So if that's going to ruin your life, then you don't want to do this low equity stuff. But I can tell you this, there ain't no other investors that you're going to meet that are out there looking for them, are there?
Nope.
They ain't touching these with a 10-foot pole because they don't understand why they want them. Now, I don't know. Let's say, well, this house is one of them. Okay. But let's just, well, I'm going to show you what this house has produced for me first, and then I'll come back to this, Adel. So thank you very much,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
I didn't want him to hear right from the horse's mouth. All right. I remember I bought it for $351 by just taking over that debt. All right. Seller got nothing. I put them in it. I got $50,000 non-refundable deposit. And I got $2,500 a month rent. My payment was outgoing was $1,925, and I leased it to them for 2 years. Now, I just made 50 grand. I make 50 grand plus I make $575 a month. Can I spend it? I already told you, yeah, you can spend it. Spend on anything you want to spend it on. Nobody can tell you not to spend it. Go buy pot with it. Doesn't matter what you use it for. Go on a vacation. So you don't have to bring the 50 grand is your money. You don't have to bring any of it to closing. Of course, I say bring to closing. There is no table with people around it anymore. It's all done virtually anyway. So anyway, the money stays in your pocket. $575 a month, that's called residual income. And when you get cashed out, you get the back end. You remember what the back end was? That house, that one house has generated, well, I think I got it coming up. I better shut up. How long does it take to get cashed out? Never, I hope. I hope you die with this house because it's going to produce income for your family then. So here's what I'd have lost if I'd have sold that house to that tenant buyer back then. Okay. Bought it for $351. Today it's worth $707. That house has doubled in price since I bought it in the last 11 years. Okay. Appreciated $356,000 that I didn't do anything to earn. collect rent, make payment. And I didn't even do that. I got people for that. Net cash flow, $61,000 over that 11-year period, and tax savings. Now think about this. Let's just say I had a $200 a month negative cash flow on this house. Okay. Look at my depreciation. My depreciation was $8,900 a year. And even if I'm in a 25% tax bracket, my depreciation alone will cover that loss. So don't let a little negative cash flow keep you from making a decision based on short-term issues that's worrying you. So look at my debt pay down, $97,000 debt pay down during that period of time. Free money, plus the deposit, plus all these other goodies. Now, look at my gain on that house in my 11-year period. $595,000. No, I haven't sold a house, so I haven't pocketed all that money yet. But what are we forgetting in this scenario right here? We're forgetting the $50,000 I got up front. So $645,000 that house has made me since I bought it, and I still own the house. The goose is still laying the golden eggs. Told you that. So if you have a negative, we just went through that. And I know, are you nuts, Ron? You want me to take a negative cash flow? No, I don't want you to. I don't want you to at all. But I don't want you to lose a very, very good deal on a beautiful house just because you got a little negative cash flow. The house is, you're already going to make it up with other goodies that you got. In fact, don't forget that big deposit you get. You could set some of this aside if you wanted to. I shoot for at least $300 to $500 a month on the spread on most of the houses, which, but sometimes they're way bigger than that. Sometimes they're smaller than that. Sometimes they're nothing, like I just described. Doesn't take many of these deals, folks, and you're out of a job. It really doesn't. So you want to learn more? Here you go. I got a system for you. It's called the term system. It's the best I could think of. All right. It's got all these goodies in it for you. The agreements are in there, filled out, blank. All the scripts are in there. I do a class on agreements in there. Automated selling system. And it comes with a systems manual. It's all delivered to you virtually. And there's about 14 hours of training. And it comes with a 90-day helpline. If you need help, just pick up the phone call. And there's somebody there every single weekday to answer your questions for you. I spent about 2 hours on structuring deals from the desk. We put people out in the hallway calling the leads on my boot camp and getting them on the phone and filling out a sheet and all that. And when we get some that makes sense and we're going to move forward with it, and we've already got the sellers okay to come out and look at the house, I discussed those in class, and that's what I did in this. How are we going to make money in this and so forth. Very educational. And I got an hour on just calling sellers. You listen to me calling sellers. It's all digital. It used to be on CDs, but we couldn't figure out how to plug them into our telephone, so we had to go digital. I'm going to include a certificate for you. If you want to use it to upgrade to my 4-day quick start school, which I do once a month, that certificate gets you $500 off of that. You get all the info on it. All this is tax deductible. Everything you spend has to do anything with this business is tax deductible. 90-day helpline, I just told you that. That's a $500 value right there. Got checklists in there. I'm a checklist freak. Checklist for when you're buying, checklist when you're selling. Here's my things I got to do. Here's the forms I got to have in my file on all types of properties. This course was $1,197, sold a ton of them for that, actually. But your cost, hold your breath, here we go, is only $495 for this system. Right, Ron, that's cheap. Yes, it is cheap. That's the cheapest I ever sold it. I promise you that. But Ron, I can get real estate training cheaper than you. You're high price. No, I'm not. I'm not really high price. And first of all, you better be careful where you get that real estate training from. So I've been at this for 44 years. You've been at, anybody who's been at it that long? And you got to learn something in 44 years. And I've been teaching for 37 years and helping people all that time, all those thousands of folks get more out of life. because I make this simple. I put it in a system that anybody could follow. You see when you get these things and all the tools that you need to do it with, and then you can pick up the phone if you need help, for crying out loud. Not sure I know what else I can do for you, especially for $495. I teach the teachers. I really do. Years ago, I started teaching other people how to be teachers in this business, and I can give you a list of names that are out there right now that they have built a business after their real estate business. They learn, they nail it. Now they go out and build a training business. And more power to them. And because I've made more millionaires than all those people out there combined have made, I can promise you that. And that's largely due because I've been around so long. But again, you're not going to write checks, so there's nothing to be afraid of. You're not going to guarantee any debt. You're not going to borrow any money in terms business. And you're not going to make any promises you can't keep. And attorneys are going to close for you. So what would concern you? Why wouldn't you take me up on this one-time offer? I don't know, because you got 30 days to reverse that decision and get back all your money if you want to. But Ron, I got enough to do. I understand. That's why I'm trying to train you to do less, make more. Less I make, the more I make. Get rid of some of the stuff you do. And I'll bet you that if you actually make a list of what you do in any given day, that you could look at about 90% of that list and toss it out because you shouldn't even be doing it. You should delegate it to somebody else. So along the way on Planet Ron, you're going to learn how to get your life back and have very, very little to do by using the systems so that you can do some other things in life that you've been putting off. Once you get the nut cracked on this and the income starts coming in, especially with those people, you got tenant buyers in those houses, it comes in every month. You don't have to do a thing to get it. Okay. And then everything else you do is, like wholesale deals, that's income you can add to it. But it's not the residual income you look. So you can quit working. You need a retirement. Don't have enough retirement. Afraid the money's going to run out before the month does. Well, let me help you build a retirement. I get it. I want a big cash flow when I retire, and I want some money in the bank. So do you. And if you have enough to do now, I want to ask yourself, well, what's it making you? Or is your income now where you want it to be? And if it isn't, maybe you got to stop doing a few things that you do and start doing something that you can get wealthy with. I learned this from Bestline. If you ever want to get rich, you got to first put yourself in a position to do so. Is what you're doing, can it make you rich? If not, you might want to consider doing something better to make you rich. Real estate can make you rich very, very quickly. You spend all your time chasing the buck or enjoying life and family while you can. I got to tell you, one of the biggest mistakes that I made when I was coming up, I spent all my time chasing the buck. Didn't have a lot of time for that family. And as I grow older, I'm looking back and, I wished it would have been different back then. There's a toll on your health and relationships affected by poor cash flow. And when you think about it, aren't most divorces because of poor cash flow? And cash flow can cure problems that lack of money create. So what are you doing now to make 20 grand? How much time do you invest in it? Is it a golden goose or a golden turd? Ron, I need to think about this a while. Really? What do you need to think about? I just told you can have all your money back within 30 days. I told you we're going to put you out there without doing stupid stuff and risking and guaranteeing debt and all that stuff. What do you want to think about? There's nothing to think about. You don't have anything to think about until you get the course so you can have something to think about. Makes sense to me. There's no risk on your part whatsoever. And what's it going to be like in the real world of business when you have to make decisions? You can't just think about them. You're going to be a bottleneck. Your business is not going to, people around you are not going to want to work with you because you can't make a decision. Can't steal in slow motion. So if not now, when? I think you and I both know the answer. Probably never. Only when the student is ready. Again, we don't guarantee debt. We don't write big checks. We don't make promises we can't keep. And we close with attorneys. No risk. Most of the work is done for you. So you work less, not more. Because I'm telling you the truth, Adel don't work more than just a few hours a week. And he runs my whole business. And frankly, I don't even work that. I'm lucky to put in an hour or two a week. So you can get cash flow. you can get wealth, you can get retirement all at the same time while creating financial freedom. And who knows where you're going to go from there? Maybe one day you're going to want to teach. I'll be here when you get ready. I'm going to level with you. I'm going to tell you why I'm giving you this offer today. By the way, I'm going to save you $1,000 off of that one course because actually that's not true. It was $11.97, whatever the difference is. Incidentally, I'm going to suggest that you get on the telephone down there or go to that site and start filling out the form because I got a really nice surprise for you when we get to the end of this thing, and we're not far from it right now. And I'm only going to do it for the first 10 people who register. There's your recap. Save you about $2,000 in savings. All them bonuses that I gave you. And I'm not through with those yet. We still got another one for you. And we're going to email you the link tomorrow. What is today? Thursday. You'll get the link tomorrow. Now, if you call on the voicemail and you can't get through, just leave a message. Sit there, sit back a little while, and we'll get back to you this evening yet. And there's your website, termsspecial.com. You can do it online if you'd rather do that and get it. And then I can put you up here on my wall when you come down to see me here in Jacksonville, Florida for some events. These are letters I got all over the building from students. There's $40,000 on a front end terms deal in Texas. Here's one in, I can't read, Illinois, I think. 38.5 was a terms deal. Got it up front. North Carolina, $42,000 up front on a non-refundable deposit. Arizona, or I can't read it, John. Can you blow it up a little bit? Washington.
That's Tacoma, Washington.
Okay, it's Washington. $43,000 on that one. This guy was an NFL player and made $32,000 on his first deal.
Not only an NFL player, he is a Super Bowl champion.
Really?
With the Green Bay Packers. Yes.
I didn't know that. What year was that?
Don't quiz me on that. 10 years ago, I think.
All right. Next year, Jacksonville Jaguars is going to be a Super Bowl champion.
Correct.
I don't want to hear it. Okay. Now, I put this one in here just so you can see. I teach commercial as well. And here's a young man that came to my commercial boot camp. And a few years later, he sent me this, said he's over $80 million in commercial real estate right now that he owns. He sent me another letter since. He's over $100 million right now. So, all it takes is a turning point in one's life. Something's got to launch your desire to go out there and make a lot of money for yourself and your family. And, mine couldn't even buy my wife a washing machine. I don't know whatever yours is, but you got to start somewhere. And this is a very inexpensive place for you to start. I'll tell you that right now. Come down to us and you'll see you all over the walls, all over the building. And your checks. And never get tired of them. They're all throughout all this building. Now, I'm going to give you one last thing here before I leave you. If you make a decision right now, get on the phone or get on that website. I'm going to give you my complete wholesaling system absolutely free. And today, you spend $4.95, I'm going to give you $5.99 right back just in the wholesale system. Because I said the first thing, the fastest way to get a check is probably going to wholesale a house. So a junker. So you focus on the junkers, you put them under contract, sell the contract, and you get a check. It's so simple. A sixth grader could do a wholesale deal, right? I'm going to get you that as well. So you got plenty to do right there. I got another one on rehabbing and retailing, but you're not ready for that yet. I'll give you this one if you buy the other one at a third of what it normally sells for. So come to Papa, come to Planet Ron. Glad to have you. And I promise you we'll grow together. And see that there's a big difference between the way I do real estate and the way some of the gurus or nurus do it on the web. So give me a chance and I'll prove it to you. All right, John, do we have questions?
Okay, Ron, we are back. We are live. It is Valentine's Day, February 14th, 2026. It is almost 1:30 p.m. So if anybody doesn't believe we are live right now to take all your questions.
We are.
I would like if I could get some volunteers to come online on camera with Ron. Just type in live in the chat section there, and I'll bring you on live. You can use your webcam and talk to him directly. But in the meantime, we do have a bunch of questions.
Okay, John, put my big screen up.
Are you not seeing your screen there?
On the big one, I'm not, no.
All right, give me a second. I'll check on that. In the meantime, Bally says, how does insurance work when getting a property sub 2 with a mortgage? Do you cancel the seller's insurance immediately?
Yeah, you don't cancel it. The seller cancels it. And sometimes your new insurance company will cancel it for you. But you do have to make sure that it's canceled. And you need a policy the day you buy the property, regardless how you buy it. As soon as you buy the property, then you're responsible for putting insurance on it. So you're going to need a full year's premium, maybe even a quarter year, whatever your insurance company will do for you when you buy. And that's something you cannot forget, because there's nobody reminding you to do it except my checklist in my system. So if you know what's going to happen if you don't insure the property and it burns to the ground, well, you're going to create a mess for you, a mess for the seller, a mess for the bank, a mess for everybody. So you got to constantly keep a policy on it. And do not believe that the policy that the owners have on it now will work for you. No, it will not. They have a owner-occupied policy. You're going to get a non-owner occupied policy, and you're going to name their mortgage company as first mortgagee name. And if it's a wrap, then the seller's name is second mortgagee, because a wrap wraps around an underlying loan. So you got just make it clear. Anytime you take title to a property, it's your responsibility to insure that property. Now, if you don't insure it, the bank will soon be placing forced insurance on it, and you sure don't want that to happen, because if the bank puts a policy on it, a lot of people think, well, the bank is insuring it. Nah, they're insuring their interest. They're insuring it up to their loan amount. That means you don't have a dime to put back into the property. So. And it's a forced place policy is way more expensive than the policy you're going to get. And I told somebody earlier, go to NREIG, and if it's non-owner occupied now, it's got to be non-owner occupied. And I'll tell you what I'm going to do right here, right now, because it's in your boot camp manual. There's your boot camp manual, incidentally. Let's see, it's 300 and some odd pages. So we got a lot to cover when we get there. And this manual is going to be very valuable to you. I can promise you that. So right back in the back of this manual, I'm going to try to get you a website. A website here. In fact, I think they've changed their name. They probably sold out or something like that. Yeah, here they are. All right, they're now called REI Guard. REI Guard. The website is getpropercoverage.com. Ain't that cool? Getpropercoverage.com. And honestly, if you got properties right now with tenants in them, you ought to go to them and compare the prices on your insurance, and I'll bet you it's going to be a lot lower. And frankly, they're in business just for investors, so that ought to tell you something. All right, good question. Next.
Okay, well, we've got one of your students, Lucky, is on live right now. Let's talk to Lucky.
Hey, Lucky. You Lucky? Can't hear you.
Lucky, we can't hear you. Is your mic muted?
Oh yeah, sorry. Hi, can you hear me, guys?
Can now, yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I said I'm wearing your t-shirt. Thank you for free gift.
You must have come in October to get that pink shirt, didn't you?
Yes, sir. That was October. The first class in that small studio.
Yeah, we give them out pink because that's a breast cancer awareness month. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. So I heard you just got a big check.
Yep. I signed it to you. I don't know if Tish she re-signed it to you.
You're not going to send me the check. You're going to send me a copy, right?
A copy. Yes. Sorry, not this time.
You can send the original if you want. So what'd you do? You do a lease option deal?
Yes, that was the least option. So do you want to hear the whole story, like short?
No.
Okay.
So you bought,
Yes,
you bought a house, you put a lease option tenant buyer in there, and that 17 grand was their upfront deposit, right?
correct. Yep.
And what was the sales price of the house?
We did the wrap 250.
250.
29 years.
29 years. That was length
Yep.
of her loan? Yeah. Okay.
Correct.
I gotta tell you, 17 grand on a 250 house is not bad to get up front. In fact, that's about right. A little
Yep.
less, a little more, about right. And of course, everybody watching right now, as it goes up in value, his front end deposits are going to go up as well. Okay? Like I showed you during the presentation, $1 million house, ain't nobody getting the key to mine unless they got at least $100,000 to put down. So the more dollars you waller in, the more stick to you. All right, Lucky. Appreciate
Yep.
you, man.
And I put that 270 for to sell it. So essentially, I sold it for 270.
You sold it for 270. You mean
Yep.
put
I
a
mean, I
tenant
put
buyer in?
lease option 270. Yep.
Okay, and you took over 250, right?
Correct. Yep. So 20. I generated 20 grand equity.
There you
20,000.
go. Guys, there's a chance to see that you don't have to have a lot of equity in the terms deals like you do in the cash deals right there. He's already pocketed 20 grand. How much is your monthly cash flow?
My monthly cash flow is 200. However,
200.
I applied your down payment assistance program, and they added $100 extra. So thank you, sir.
You're getting
Yes.
$300 a month positive cash flow, money
Yep.
that you don't deserve or earn for 29 plus years. And of course, that's going to go. Your debt's going to go way down. Value's going to go up. Your cash flow is going to get larger as time goes on, and there's nothing for you to do but collect the rent and make the payment. That's all there is for you to do because they're doing repairs. All right, now you need to go out and get about 10 more of those.
That's my goal for this year.
That's
Yep.
not a that's a fairly conservative goal right there. 10
Yeah,
of those.
yep. I have a question to you, sir.
Huh? Shoot.
I have a question.
Shoot.
So essentially, I have a seller. She has a new home, 2 years old home. The mortgage balance 257. The R is 299. Her payment with HOA $2,000. Okay, she is okay to sell this house. However, she wants to upsize, and her bank would not allow to do that. However, her new lender said if she will show them that she's leasing this house, so she's getting the same amount in as she's paying for that house out, she will get a new loan for the new house. So my
Okay.
question is, what should I do exactly step by step to convert this first from the lease option to seller financing?
I'll tell you. Okay, that's a good example. You need to lease option the property from the seller so she can satisfy her new lender's requirements. Keep in mind now, they're only going to give her credit for 75% of her income toward her debt ratio. So go ahead and lease it now. And then when she goes and gets a new loan on it, you can tell, then I want to buy it. I'll get the paperwork done and I'll buy it, take it off your hands and cover that payment.
Understood. Yep. And essentially I can do it right away. So let's say we do lease option agreement next week. She will bring it to the bank. She will get approved within couple weeks or so. And right after she is approved, I can go straight to her and do a lease sales and purchase and convert it. Correct?
After she closes now. Okay. She's got to close.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes, but you need to have this chat up front. I'm going to lease option it to satisfy your bank, and I'm going to turn it into owner financing after you get the loan. So it's not a surprise when you go back to her later.
Understood. And I'm in North Carolina, so basically you have to record that lease option. So when I'm going to do that lease option from her no?
You don't record the lease option, you record a memorandum of option. Memorandum of option. Are you in Jay Connor's family?
Yeah, I'm going to him in February. see him.
Contact him. He lives in North Carolina. He'll tell you exactly what to do in North Carolina. And as you know, nobody better at it than him. This guy that's rehabbed 400 houses since he came to my first boot camp. Makes about $2 million a year just doing that. It's a good example to follow. So if you're going to his thing, you'll get to know him. And I have no problem knowing that you're going to get to know him. You're not bashful at all. And then you got a shoulder to lean on. And North Carolina. That's the only thing different in North Carolina that I can think of is you do need to record a memorandum of option when you put your tenant buyer in the house.
Yep, that's what I did actually. It was my attorney and the tenant buyer pay attorney's fee, like you said. So because it was an attorney. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Let's knock out some more of these questions.
Thank you, Lucky. All right, we got a couple more people online wanting to talk to you live. So I just want to let you know, if you guys want to talk to Ron live using your webcam, just type in live here in the chat section and I'll put you on. So next up we got Kevin, and then after that we got Marcus. So here is Kevin.
Hey, Kevin.
Hey, Ron, how you doing?
I'm great. We can hear you.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Loud and clear.
Good deal. So Ron, I've got an axe deal going and having trouble getting a tenant buyer. I've got it advertised. I've got it Facebook, Marketplace, all of that, but I am not getting any traction on this house. And it's gorgeous, gorgeous house, cul-de-sac. And I just can't figure out what's going on that I can't get a tenant buyer. I should have found one easy, and we're in 3 months already.
Golly, what's the sales price?
$320.
All right. And you're not naming the down payment?
Well, you know John Jackson, so he's kind of got his way of doing it. So we're kind of doing it that way. Everything's been named. Price, down payment, monthly.
Well, that's a big mistake.
I agree with you, Ron, but I'd already done it.
I'll tell John that the next time. Well, you can pull that ad and rate it, and put another one in there.
Yes, sir.
Are you getting calls on it?
I got a couple of renter calls, like we told in all the things you've discussed, you get a lot of nonsense renter calls that aren't buyers. No one with the down payment yet, the 5%.
So you're not getting the people to call you.
Correct. We're not getting enough people calling.
Okay. So what does that tell you, Kevin?
Price
We've
too high.
identified the problem. We've identified the problem. And now there's a problem on your front end getting to call you, and it's probably right in your ad or where you're posting your ad. I'm not sure what else it could be. So where are you posting the ad?
We're posting the ad. I've got it on Craigslist. I got it on Facebook Marketplace, in all the different for sale by owner groups in Georgia.
Can you tell me
this one's in Savannah?
What's the ad say?
13 Bitterroot. I'm sorry?
What's the ad say?
The ad says, get into your house this year, no bank required. And then it says lease purchase. John only does 1 year lease purchases where you do 2. I have told John we should.
Listen, I don't care what John tells you. John's in the business of assigning lease options, and I don't know why. He does a lot of them. I know this guy very well, and that's all he does. Sir. So he just lives on the spread.
Right.
And he's assigning the lease option. You better check first to make sure that Texas is not one of the states that has outlawed assignment of contract. I don't think it is, but you need to check that. You can check that on Google,
Yeah, this is in Georgia. This one's in Georgia, so
Georgia.
We should be
I'm
good.
Sorry. How do I get Texas in my head? I don't know. I don't know about Georgia.
That's where John is now.
Right. Listen, you have got to change that ad.
Okay.
And you keep changing it until you get a lot more calls on it. I'm telling you right now, the header should be lease purchase.
Yes, sir.
Lease purchase. That's the first thing it's going to grab them.
Right.
No banks. It needs to be in the ad. No banks.
Right.
Poor credit, okay.
Okay.
At least have that in there. You need the bedrooms and baths in there as well. And I like putting on what side of town it's on.
Right. I've got a pretty good, as far as the descriptive ad of the property. I mean, it's a real good write up on the property itself.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But like you said, the ad is typical JJ's ad of price, down payment, monthly.
He is 100% wrong on that. 100% wrong. I see him, I'm going to tell him. That is a stupid thing to do. You're not going to get these big deposits by putting the number in the paper. You're just going to drive off everybody who don't even have any idea until you talk to them what it's all about. I don't ever put the
Right. So I
deposit.
should just run the 320 price and then field them like we, the script says.
I promise you, when you change that little thing, your calls are going to increase.
Okay.
You don't need a big long ad. All right. Do you have a page on your website with this house on it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. First, I want you to send that to me. I want to see it. All right.
Oh, okay.
Tish@legrandprojects.com. Send it to me, and we'll critique it for you. And then so
Yes,
your goal online then is to drive them to that page. It tells them all they need to know about that house before they go look at it. And
Right.
RVAs will do the page for you, post it on your site, and then all you got to do is drive the traffic to that and let it work. Now, do you have a Matterport video done on it by any chance?
No, I didn't do the video on it. I've
Well,
just
do
got, about 20 pictures of it.
You need to do the video, because now
Okay.
they're buying it in their head. They're buying it before they even go look at it, because people nowadays want to see the house online if they want to go look at it. What you got it priced
Okay.
at? What's your sales
Like
price?
I said, it's sale price is 320 with 5% down, 16,000 down, and
Yeah.
the monthly is 2,200.
You don't know that. So if somebody offers you 2,300, you're not going to take it, right?
Oh, I take it in a heartbeat. You know that.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's an axe deal. I'm just going to be giving that over to the seller. So mine is the spread.
I hear you.
On the
But you got to get that spread, or it's a waste of your time.
right.
So how much do you owe the seller?
Out of the 16, we're given 4, so we get 12.
Or you're giving the seller $4,000?
That's John's little thing that he uses to sweeten his deals to get the sellers to hook up.
Okay. You tell John that I say he's full of crap. Don't be afraid to tell him that.
Oh, I will.
He'll probably text me immediately. All right. Change the ad and then get back. Let me know what's going on with it.
Will do, sir. Appreciate your time, Ron.
You been to business management boot camp yet?
No, sir.
Okay, we talk about solving problems. First, identify them, then create
Right.
the solutions for them, and then pick the one that is the less pain and implement it until you get it gone. So, I mean, I understand your problem. I'll tell you that right now.
Yep, I appreciate you because you're the man. No doubt about it.
Well, thank you for that.
Yes, sir.
Let me know when you get a tenant.
I will. I'll let you know right away.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Kevin. And a lot of people, we're broadcasting over all of our social media sites right now. If you want to come on and ask questions for Ron, look there in the chat section. I put the link for you to register. It's free. And then join us here on StreamYard. You can put your questions in. You can also connect with Ron live. We've got Marcus up next who wants to talk to you, Ron. So
Okay.
here is Marcus.
I'm going to say one more thing before I get going with Marcus. You can go ahead and pull him up. Guys, we're going to send you information on the Quick Start Real Estate School as well. And you need to know that if you want to upgrade to that, we're going to give you full credit for what you just purchased, the $500 or so. So take a look at that when you get it. And that's your next step, incidentally. The next step is to get there, and I'll train you live right here in this room. And this is where we start the implementation process of what you learn now and what you'll learn at the event. I'll be teaching it while Adel and my team here will be servicing your leads. And you're going to bring leads too. I'm going to spank you if you don't, but I'll be in touch with you before that, tell you how to get them. Hey, how are you?
Hey, Ron, how are you?
I'm peachy.
Hey, so I just wanted to ask a quick question. Is there like a different process or a different way you approach high equity homeowners versus the low equity homeowners? Is there any difference really?
No.
Okay.
I mean, some of your thought process might be different, but we find the same way. And if you want to target them, all you got to do is pick the high equity out of the thing I showed you earlier, the dreams thing, mail to the high equity ones, which includes the free and clear ones. But you know, when I talked about that, I was targeting the people with low equity because they'll literally come out and beg you to buy the house. Not unlike the people with a high equity. Okay. There's so many ways to make money in this business. I want you to get familiar with all of them so you don't walk over the dollars or get the dimes and throw things in the trash that should have made you money. In fact, that's why I started this mentoring. The reason about 16 years ago, I seen too many people throwing away deals that they didn't know were deals. And boy, that improves your learning curve tremendously when you can know the deal and know exactly where it's going to fall. And, you know, all of you will know that after you've done a few deals. You know, maybe we'll call it the first year or so. In fact, a year from now, all of you are going to look back and laugh at all the things you were worried about now, because most of them just ain't never happened and they aren't true. So many myths in this industry.
Thank you, Ron.
Oh, you're welcome. Good luck. Get out there and get some deals.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Ron. Thank you, Marcus. We got, help me pronounce your name. I'm sorry.
Hello, Marcus.
No, not Marcus.
Oh, it's not Marcus.
Hartovish? How do we pronounce your name? I'm sorry. You're on.
Can you hear us? Apparently not.
Hart, are you there? Can you hear us? You're online. We can't hear you. Do you have your mic muted?
Hello?
Make sure you're.
Hello, I heard it.
There we go.
Say something. I think he's probably got his mic off.
All right,
Okay.
just stay online with us. We'll come back to you in a moment. Let's.
Before you go, can you raise your hand if you can hear us? All right, that's not his problem. He's got to do something on his end.
All right, I'm going to try to check on him on the chat section. We got somebody else online, Tom Jones. Stay online with Tom Jones. You're on.
Tom Jones, no kidding.
Hey, maybe you heard of me.
Raise your hand if you can hear us. Yeah. You sing pretty well.
Hey Tom, I can hear an echo there. I think you gotta turn off your other feed because we're hearing like an echo through here, or mute the other tab.
Hey, maybe you heard of me.
Now we're getting, you sing pretty well.
Hey Tom, I can hear an echo there. I think we're turning off that audio from the other tab. We'll come back to you in just a moment. We've got Ron Clyde is on right now. Ron.
Hey, Ron. Can you hear me? What's going on here today, John?
We're having some technical issues. Hey, Ron Clyde, can you hear us? Give us a thumbs up if you can hear us.
I can hear you twice, as a matter of fact.
Okay, so you got two tabs open, right? You got the one you were watching on earlier, and then you joined with a new link. You got to turn that other one off so you don't hear us twice.
I got the other one off, I believe.
Turn the first one off.
First one's off. Can you hear me at all?
We hear you.
Yeah.
You're good.
Hey, all right. Listen, my 14-year-old granddaughter and I sat here and watched your live stream earlier. She's just now getting into the business. I was just going to reach out. I've been a fan and a friend of yours. I was a Gold Club member for years and years. Dreams, quick starts, over and over. I was telling her that I still have the very first house that I bought, and it's still laying those golden eggs every month in and month out. Thank you, Mr. LeGrand.
You are welcome.
Anybody with a name like Ron's got to be a good guy. So,
Yeah,
do you
right.
have any advice for a teenager, bringing a teenager into this business? She's, like I said, she's 14 years old, has expressed some interest in doing this. After an hour and a half, she's about ready to go take a shower. That's where she's jetted away. I wish you could meet her in person right now. She jetted away to go take a shower. She spent the night last night with friends. So how would you advise an old grandpa to bring his granddaughter into this business?
Well, you bring her to Quick Start School because she won't know the business until you do that. She's free to you, and then you're going to start her off a little slowly, but she's got to be willing to take instructions along the way, because it really isn't this hard to do this business. And she's 14 years old. She's absolutely not going to be the one that goes out to the house and talks to the seller. I know you're aware of that. But she can do all that work in the middle. In fact, if she's 14, she's not going to replace a VA, that's for sure, because they do all kinds of stuff she will probably never learn. You don't want to do that anyway. You want her whatever you can get her to do that will generate more revenue for you. Starting with what can you do on finding sellers, motivated sellers, and she can certainly watch over that. You know what I mean? Look at the numbers. Make sure you're getting calls. Make sure you're getting called when you're selling the house to the buyers and all of that, and report the numbers to you, because somebody does have to keep up with that. That's a good job for her. So you delegate everything to her that you think you don't have to do. All right. Got it?
They're talking about you. What? He's talking about you.
Let me see her.
Come say hey to Mr. Ron LeGrand. Slip on a shirt. Come here. So reports, generating the reports, and Ron, she's really not. I don't know where she gets this. Maybe from her grandfather. She's not shy about talking to people.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Well, you know, maybe that's okay if she does talk to the sellers, but obviously she's going to have no credibility at the age of 14. She ain't lived long enough to know anything in their minds.
Right. Right.
She can do everything else.
Only in her mind. And
yeah.
It'll get worse in the next 3 years, and then all of a sudden she realizes she needs to listen to people like me and you. And she actually astounded me that she is at 14 years old. Is willing to listen because
Well, I got to tell you, man, the 14-year-olds today are way, way smarter than the 14-year-olds when I was growing up.
And if they're not, they know how to go to Chat GPT and teach their granddaddy how to do it.
There you go. Now she can do a lot for you just with the AI.
Yes.
I mean, we're implementing it here. It's changing a lot of things here. And so, where is she? She coming?
Probably so. I think she's upstairs for a minute. But yeah, I haven't done Dreams Pro AI yet.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the things I picked up out of the seminar today. So
get it today. Go to dreamspro.ai.
Okay. I was going to do that as soon as we got through.
All right, John. Dreams Pro, right? Okay.
That's right. Yes.
I'll tell you all about it. And yes, if you're going to do business, that's your platform you're doing your business in. Literally a place. In fact, she's the one that could do whatever you want done inside of that. Because judging by your age, I know you're not going to mess with it. Am I right?
Well, I might surprise you. We're about the same age, brother.
Then I know you're not going to have anything to do with
it. Here Scouts wants to say hey to the legend, the myth, the man, Papa Ron.
Hi.
Hey.
Nice to
meet you. How are
you.
you? What was your name?
Emerson.
Eric?
Emerson.
Emerson. Okay, that's a first name, I assume. Yeah. I've never met anybody with that name. So anyway, you're gonna help Grandpa out here?
Yes, sir.
All right. So what grade are you in?
I'm in 8th grade.
Oh man, wish somebody had told me this when I was in the 8th grade.
Me too.
Of course, when I was 14, I wouldn't listen to anybody anyway, so it doesn't matter. But you're not like that, are you?
No.
You're going to do exactly what he tells you to do, right?
Yeah.
Okay. That means that when you start getting checks, make sure you get part of them. And the first time you do a deal, I want you to have him take you out to the best restaurant in the city that you know of.
Okay.
Okay. Second time you get a deal, I want him to take you on a cruise.
A cruise?
A cruise.
You like a cruise?
I've never been on one before.
Never been on a cruise, but she
likes reason to go.
She likes warm weather.
Yeah. Well, take a cruise south. All right. Okay. Well, nice to meet you. And thank you both for being on today.
Thank you for all you do,
Ron. Thank you, Ron and Emerson. Great to talk to them. I'm going to call him Hart because I can't pronounce his name, Hart. Turn on your mic. There you are. Let's see. Can you hear us this time?
Yes, I hear you.
Perfect. All right. What can I do for you?
Oh, man. First of all, man, it's an honor and a pleasure to finally meet you. Thank you so much for your time on this Valentine's Day. I'm in a situation, Mr. Ron, to be honest with you, where I'm a single father of 3, and I want to use the subject to. I want to approach the subject to somewhere in Florida to get a home for me and my children. I'm working on my credit. I had my business, semi truck dealership. I had to shut it down 3 years ago, so just going through that process again, getting everything together. But I was just trying to ask you, what would your steps be, like literally, if I was just trying to, because I see some ads on Facebook about buying it from like an entry fee, which I'm okay with doing that. But it's just like I would rather go direct to the seller if I could go through that process.
All right. You got a job? How do you make a living?
Yes, sir. Well, I mean, I broker the semi trucks.
Oh, okay. All right.
So yes,
Good.
sir. Yes, sir.
Because you can
Yes,
do
sir.
real estate because it don't take much time to do what I do once you get systemized. So you haven't been to any
Yes, sir.
training yet? Have you been to any training of mine?
A few years ago, we did something. We
All right.
ordered the training and everything and went through the process, but it's been a while,
Okay.
so I gotta go
Next,
through
the
everything
next
again. But
thing you need to
I'm
do,
coming with some stuff.
the next thing you need to do is get the package I offered you today. That's all about lease options. And then also you can deduct that from when you get ready to come to the boot camp. And that's the boot camp is what you need more than anything else, because that's where you get the in-deep training. The package I'm sending you is part of that training, but still we do stuff in the live event. We don't do anything, and we deliver to you. So you got to get trained.
Yes, sir.
Two most important thing you got to focus on is getting leads and handling the closing call. And honestly, if you haven't been trained on that, you're probably not going to succeed at that. Because I mean, how would you know what you're not doing correctly unless you learn it? And I've been,
Yes, sir.
I've seen a lot of people in your position. And are you raising the three children? Are you raising them?
Yes, sir. It's 3 children. I'm in a position where they're going part-time custody, but I'm trying to transition to full-time custody, and I'm leaning on me having ownership of a home being the next thing that's gonna make sure that happens.
Well, you mentioned credit. You don't need credit to buy a house. You need to go back and listen to this again. I didn't show you anything you need credit for. Of course, I don't show it. Credit is one thing that I advise everybody to keep, but not use it to buy houses with. And then nobody can come after you if things go wrong, right? So if you want to increase your credit now for yourself, go to screenthetenant.com. Screenthetenant.com. It's $99 a month for 6 months, and he'll bump your credit way up during that period of time. In the meantime, you study whatever you can study. Screen the tenant. Screenthetenant.com.
I'll put the link there
Okay.
for everybody.
And on
sign up.
How do you convince the seller that you'll keep the payments current? I know I'm going to go to the boot camp. I'm going to sign up for this program,
Okay.
but I just wanted to know, like, how do you convince the seller?
All right. What do they call you? What's your first name? What do people call you?
They call me Trey. They call me Trey.
Trey. Okay. All right.
Yes, sir.
So you're the seller on the buyer. You're the seller on the buyer. Hit me with a question
Yes, sir.
that you just hit me with. All right.
I'm the seller.
How do I know? Your question is how do I know I can trust you, right?
Yeah.
Yes?
How can I trust you to keep my payments
Okay.
over that time period?
Well, Trey, do you have any reason to believe you can't trust me?
I mean, you're a complete stranger.
You're going to say no because you just met me.
coming
All
up.
right. So say it. Let's go. No.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yes, sir.
So
No.
listen,
Yeah.
why would I be here willing to buy your house, take on all that responsibility, write checks to get it done if I didn't have any intention of making your payment? So obviously, I'm going to make sure that happens or I don't make any money either. So is that fair? All right.
Yes, sir.
By the way,
Absolutely.
if I do what I say, can I count on you to do what you say?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right.
Absolutely.
We're done with that question, aren't we?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it so much, Mr. Ryan.
All right. All right, Trey.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
Okay, thank you, Trey. We got Tom Jones. Let's see, Tom Jones. Can
He's
we
back.
hear you?
All right.
Hello,
Can we hear you now, Tom?
Can you hear me now? Is that better?
Got you. Yeah,
Okay.
that's better.
So let me explain my situation, and I want to ask is within these documents or program that you have, does that help me? I'm in a lease option right now with a house and property, and I want to secure that somehow without a mortgage, or maybe just get into taking her mortgage over so that I can live here and use it as my base.
All right.
to
So
start to
you're
begin.
going to talk about a house that you're going to live in.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then you want as long a term as you can get. I mean, I'd rather you buy it. What's the asking price?
You know, I'm not exactly sure, but I think the loan amount should be around 100,000, something like that.
Okay. What are you paying for the property?
I'm just $1,000 a month.
No. Oh, right now you're just renting it, but have you talked about a sales price?
Yeah.
What is that?
No.
You haven't talked about it. Okay. The first thing you got to do is ask your landlord if he would like to sell the property, because he may not.
She does.
And then-
That's why I have a lease option, but it's on paper, but it's expired now. You know, but
All
so we're
right.
just on a
So-
verbal agreement right now.
But you have a history of making the payments, right?
Yeah.
So that gives the owner or the opportunity to trust you, so he's not going to doubt that. So
Right.
my point is, you got to arrive at a purchase price, and then you got to arrive at a monthly payment, and then you got to arrive at when that payment starts, and that's all. I mean, it's all what we do. If you want to come see me, that's what we do. Got the document and everything, but you got to. And that's the closing call that I'm talking about. We got to master. So we ask the questions to them. If they say they want to sell, well, what's the least you could take? All right. Really, is that the best you can do? All right. Well, we usually buy with nothing down. Okay. And if he says that, you're in, man. You'd be surprised. Half of them say, okay. Just got to ask it the right way. Got to ask it exactly that way. You know.
So within
not-
this course, you'll have all the paperwork I need to accomplish that.
Yeah. Oh, well, to do a lease purchase, I think. Yeah, it's in there. And if it's not, it's on the Gold Club site. You Gold Club
Okay.
member?
No.
Are you a Gold? Okay. You will be before the end of the day, though, right? Say yes.
No, I can't do anything till the first of the month.
Why? Uh-oh. I lost him.
No cash.
Nope.
No cash.
Well, you don't need cash. You need a credit card.
Well, to
Look,
me, it's
there's
the same
much-
thing.
There is so much on that site, so many lessons on anything you can think of. It's kind of foolish not to be a Gold Club member if you're going to be on anywhere on Planet Ron, and even if you're not. It's not meant to train you like my boot camps train you, but all the tools are there, all the agreements are there, all that stuff, and then all the help. It's got a section that answers your questions for you. It's got another section where you go to all my resources, and it is your secretary in a piece of software for you. So it's kind of foolish that you're not going to get on that if you're going to do anything. If you're not going to do anything, then maybe you can be entertained on it. But anyway, back to your question. The first thing you got to do is approach your landlord, ask him if he wants to sell, period. Because if he says no, you're done. Go find someplace else you can buy or at least purchase. And trust me, there's plenty of them out there. And you got all the time in the world to do it because you're renting, and he don't even know you're doing it. Not that he would care. I urge you to
they're
get my book.
willing to sell. I'm sure. I'm quite sure of that. I've done a lot of work on the property, and
All right, then you know what to ask. You got my property information sheet. We sent that to you, didn't we?
yeah, I got that. Yeah.
Okay, that's what you're going to fill out when you're talking to him. And then, I mean, that will tell you where you're going to go because he might not even do owner financing. If you won't do owner financing, you're still out. You're done.
Yeah.
And but you got the edge because you've been paying him rent all this time, so he knows you're going to make the payment.
Yeah.
And don't let the term come out of your mouth now. Second one of my $1 million questions is, I assume you're okay if I just make your payments until it's paid off? You know, boy, you want him to say yes. Possible. See, that's now there's no balloon. You got the whole length of that loan, and you're going to pay the loan off by, so you'll never give the seller anything except monthly payments that'll pay him off along the way, because you're going to owe him the amount that he owes most likely underneath. I tell you what, next time we talk, it'd be better, but it'd be good if you had a PI sheet filled out so I can see what I'm looking at to make an intelligent response. Right now I'm just rambling, but
Okay.
I'm just guessing.
Okay.
Guessing at the other numbers. In fact, go ahead and
All right, sounds
send me
good.
that. Send me that. Where should I have him send it? Adel?
I can have you send to guess the ask at email at ronlegrand.com.
Let him send it to you.
Mentoring at globalpublishing.com.
Mentoring at globalpublishing.com. Mentoring
Okay.
at globalpublishing.com. And I'm going to have Adel get back to you after he runs it by me. All right.
Okay.
In the meantime, ask the seller if he wants to sell and find out what he wants to sell for. And that's it. Let's get over that hurdle first.
Mentoring. Okay. Very good. Thank you, sir. I appreciate your time.
All right.
Okay, thank you, Tom. If anybody else wants to come on live with Ron, just type live there in the chat section and we can bring you on. But for now, we've got a bunch of questions still that people typed in.
All right, well, let's get the questions knocked out. We don't really want them to come on because we're going to be here the rest of the day if we're not careful. Not that I care, but
We'll take as many as we can here. So
right.
Tom says, how do you handle when buying on terms insurance coverage with the bank?
I've already answered that. Of course, I know the question was asked before I answered it, but you got to insure it the day you take title to it. You need insurance policy on it as a non-owner occupied property. And I've written to the back of the book, REI Guard. And if you didn't hear that when I did that a few minutes ago, let me know. We'll do it again.
I don't have experience in real estate. How do I get started?
Well, that's good. I'm glad you don't have any experience. Then I don't have to wipe out all the crap in order to get you the stuff that you need to know. Some of my hardest clients to work with are people that have been in real estate and think they got all the answers. All right. You go wherever you can go. Look, my book is on Amazon, and that's probably a good place to start. But then you need to work up to getting to my quick start school because that's where you're really going to get trained at. That's 4 days. And right now we got a heck of a price on that. It is lower right now than it's ever been in my entire life. So it'd be a good time to go check it out. That's what? ronlegrand.com QS, isn't it? /QS, John?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
I'll type that in the chat section.
All right.
for you.
In order to get this book, you can either pay for it or you can get it free. Take your choice. All right. Okay. John, is it ronlegrand.com /book?
Well, I'll have to check on that, Ron. Give me a second.
Is that it, Adel? You know?
I'll check it right now.
Okay. Anyway, I think that's what it is. And you get the electronic version of it free. If you want the hard copy, you pay shipping and handling and get it right now. So your goal is to get into boot camp, and then you'll see what you can do and how you can do it. And it'll fire you up, get you out there, and then we get follow-up calls after that. Pretty much everything you need starts with the training. Everything starts with the training. Ye who ignores training will be soon in financial difficulties.
And yes, Ron, that was correct. ronlegrand.com /book.
Got it.
Where you get that.
All right. All of you can do that. If you don't have my book, go get it while it's free. And by the way, that's a seminar and a book, actually. And I think we get a lot of good reviews on it.
Okay, next question is from Joe. Have you ever had a tenant buyer default on the monthly payments? And if so, was that a normal eviction process to get them out?
Good question. I've had, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 default. Remember, if they default, they lose that multi-$1,000 deposit. That's a big axe to hold over their head, okay? And they know it. They know, as long as you are doing it on the front end and you make sure they know this is coming up. So if they default, most of the time, all of mine that I can remember anyway, called me and said, we're moving. Okay. There was no argument or anything. I wouldn't call it a default. They just chose to move. They weren't behind on the rent because I'm going to let them get behind on the rent. Quick to evict. But again, you got to keep it in your head. Somebody gives you $15,000, $20,000, $25,000. You don't have to worry about them paying the rent. Really? In fact, I might say maybe they won't pay the rent. That'd be a good thing for you. Why? You can go out and do it again. You don't have to go buy another house to do it again. So I don't lay awake worrying about who's going to make payments or not. As I told you earlier, I had one lady that I had to evict, and that's because she died, and her sons wouldn't get out of the house. So I had to evict her to get to her sons. I had to evict her and name the 2 people that were in the house. Finally, they got out. But I think I've had 2 people come after me to get their deposit back. Both of them lost in court because I had all the documents. And, you know, the judge could clearly see they're just trying to get back something that they agreed not to get back when they put them in. That's why you got to get all this stuff done on the front end. That's why I want you to close with an attorney and use the proper documents, which I'll send to you when you are ready to move up and get trained. That's, you start wherever you can start. I did. I was reading a lot of books on real estate. I had time to kill. And then I saw the ad that said, come learn how to buy real estate with no money down and no credit. And certainly that applied to me. And I went, but I almost didn't go. Okay. So don't let yourself stop because you don't see the end of the tunnel before you go in the tunnel. Get my book at the very least and work to get into my boot camp as fast as you can. Quick start school.
Okay, question from Tom. How do we find the value of the house after it's fixed up?
It's called Dreams Pro. Go on there. We'll teach you how to get to the R. It's after repaired value. But you know, you can go like on Zillow and other sites. But the truth is, you got to know what you're looking for, because the mistake a lot of people make is they go on Zillow and they'll find the properties that are sold for more. You got to understand that this estimate on Zillow is almost never correct. It's almost always low because they consider all of those properties that sold for less and put them in this big formula somehow, come out with a number. Anytime you're using all the low stuff and the high stuff, you're going to get a bad number on what they really were today. So I teach people to only use the top two that resemble your house the most in square footage, and in got to be in near, not too far away, and got to be sold recently. And all of that's right on DreamsProAI.com. It's one of the cool tools on it that I use. Still use this today. DreamsPro.com. What do we call that? That's getting the value of a house. Or
What do we call it? Getting comps?
On the Dreams Pro, what is it called?
Comparables.
Comparables.
Yeah,
Thank you. That's it. It's called comparables. Go put your out there and see. Would you be shocked? I bet you by what it's worth, because most people get that one wrong. The point is, you need to learn how to do that, because if that's wrong, everything there on down is wrong as well. Most people would put to a conservative of an R, and that means that you got the wrong number to start with, so everything else is affected downward. You're probably going to kill your own deal. A lot of people do. And then, of course, you be careful that you don't put too high an ARV on it, because you don't know how to get to those top two, and you're not using true comps. So I'll teach you all of that in class. You learn that on the second day, actually. And we'll do some houses while you're sitting there. All right, John.
Question from G. Who holds the property title during the lease period, and when does it get transferred?
The seller holds the title on the lease until you pay the seller off, which is the day you sell the property to an owner-occupied couple. And then they deliver the deed directly to your couple.
Okay, Craig says, is there a script for seller financing that doesn't have a mortgage?
Yeah, that's part of your personal, that's your front end PI sheet will tell you that. The VA asked that question for them, and they put a 0 there. And that means it's free and clear.
Tom asks, when buying with a wrap, is there a possibility of the loan being called due?
Always a possibility of the loan being called due. In fact, there's a possibility that before I can get home today, I'm going to get hit in the head with a jet that falls out of the sky too. There's always a possibility. But in my 44 years, not once has a bank ever called a loan due, not once. Now, I don't make a big deal out of it and call them and ask for permission and all of that. I just ignore them. I don't even talk to the bank, right? The seller sends me anything they get on the house while I own the house that they get from the bank. Bank won't talk to me anyway without permission. Well, I get permission on the authorization to release form going in, but that doesn't force them to talk to me. You know, they're going to use their own rules. So, all right, I hope that answers that question. I ain't worried about banks.
How do you get a $50,000 deposit from a person who can't qualify for a loan, Ron? I'm confused.
Yeah, well, the answer is you won't get it if you publish it. You won't even get any calls. So you let these calls come in and you ask them, is that the most you can put down? The fact, Pat Live asked them that. It's right on the form that I give them. That's the most you can put down. Well, when they're off, I see. They don't even know there's, and the 50,000 is in my mind. It's not published anywhere. It's like, it's what I want. And the higher, well, you've seen one house that I showed you. I got $50,000 down on a $400,000 house, but it was relatively new, 3 years old. So the higher you go up, the more you're going to want down, but you got to be prepared if you can't get that much. Okay, you got to lower it without being stupid. You don't put somebody in a $400,000 house with $5,000, because if you do, you're just creating a problem to fix later. They don't have enough skin in the game. Now, I always shoot. I'm not giving the keys to them. I'll tell you, unless I get 5% down. To me, that's very low, because nice houses and nice neighborhoods will command more than that, because these people cannot qualify at the loan. You got to remember that. We got 70% of the market all to ourselves, because the rest of them can qualify and we don't want them. We want people who can't qualify, because I'm going to beat this into you. I don't want them to cash me out if I can help it. The profit is not in the cash out. The profit is in the front end deposit and the cash flow along the way. Residual income, building wealth with cash flow and cash all at the same time. So I suggest you get it out of your head that you ever want them to cash out. I mean, I'm not going to stop them from cashing out, most certainly. I mean, they deserve it. And if they ask for help, I'm going to give them help. But in the meantime, I'm not going to worry about that house or that owner. I don't want until they call me and tell me they're moving, or they call me and tell me I got a loan approved and we're going to be closing soon. That's it. It's not. I don't go to there and check if they in the house. I don't do anything. Hand them the keys, and I do nothing along the way unless they're not paying the rent. And I don't care if the 2-year term is up. I don't care. I just let them keep making the payments. All right. So,
Ron, I feel like the question was more like, if someone can't qualify for a bank loan, how could they possibly afford a big non-refundable option deposit?
So they can't qualify. It may not have anything to do with how they can afford it. It may not have anything to do with the payment. I mean, they're not even going to get approved unless their debt to income ratio will meet their standards. So I'm not going to worry about that either. Besides, I don't care what a bank does. I don't need a bank. They don't need me. So what their requirements are irrelevant to me. I make up my own requirements.
A ton of people out there have cash in the bank, but also have bad credit.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Think about it. They got bad credit. That means they're not paying anybody. They're keeping the money. Okay. If they just filed bankruptcy, that means nobody else will be harassing them. All right. And so, yeah, you conjure up all these things you think are going to go wrong. And I'm telling you, if you get trained, prepare for them ahead of time. And, I always tell my students, always prepare for court, meaning make sure I have the documents that I would need if somebody wants to come after me. And I'm telling you, that saved my bacon 2 or 3 times just because I had the documents. There's a thing called seller's acknowledgement in my system. And it's a 1.5 pages long of them initialing every paragraph. I understand that I'm not, I've been advised to get help, financial, and with a lawyer. And I know that I'm not renting a house, that I'm selling it. I'm not entitled to any of the money when it sells. I am not on drugs. I'm not taking any mind-altering substances. Okay. The whole thing, anything. I understand that there's a due on sale clause that might be called, but my buyer is not responsible, and on and on and on. And that's a very important document, because that one document alone will prove that you disclosed up front. And in other words, we got a meeting of the minds now. So when it comes up later, remind them of that seller's acknowledgement document, and likely you'll never hear from them again. Because I don't think unless you've done something stupid. I mean, I'm assuming that you've done what you're supposed to do and you kept your word, and now they just can't make the payments. All right, I'm not mad at them, incidentally. This stuff happens to everybody. They can't make the payments, then they're going to move. It's that simple. We're not going to get in any arguments or anything, because we had up front, we took care of all that stuff in writing and with an attorney. So there's no argument. You never told me that. Yeah, I did. Is that your signature right there? Yeah, I did. All right, you just forgot. I think that's enough on that, John.
Okay, Ron, we got another brave soul who wanted to come on live and speak to you. Anthony, here you are.
Anthony.
Hey, Ron, how you doing?
Good. What's
awesome. Just looking to educate myself in this real estate. I had my real estate license for a bit, Didn't run a single transaction, unfortunately. My credit isn't the greatest, but I want to educate myself, but I want to make sure I'm pouring myself in the right direction. That way I can't have that first transaction or have my
Got it.
first ownership on a
What are you
property.
worried about? What are you worried about? By the way, I hope your credit is minus 680. Then you won't be tempted to use it.
I think my biggest thing, because I'm a people person, I love talking to people. I love to get to know people, right? My biggest thing is understanding the process of, what if it's credit finance, of doing the first transaction, really, to be honest with you. I guess that's my biggest fear, is understanding that process and how to close my first deal.
Well, you understand that you need to get trained, so that's your first goal. In the meantime,
Yes, sir.
make sure you get my book, and you take me up on this offer today. $495 is not a lot of money for what I teach, and that covers the pretty house business, Anthony, from beginning to the end. That includes buying and leasing. That's where you want to start, and then you can apply that to the Quick Start School when you're ready to take that lead. By the way, we finance the Quick Start School for you, and we don't even check your credit. So you
And
call
so,
in and ask me about that.
so the Quick Start School. So you're saying educate myself with the book that you have, right? That'd be the first step, which is $495. Great deal.
And today's system, yeah, it's got the tools in it for you.
Yes,
The
sir.
document,
So you
yeah.
education, which is the book, and then you said something about the Quick Start School. So give me a little bit more information. I heard a little bit, but I want to understand a little bit more. If you can
4-day
explain that,
event.
please.
We do it 11 times a year. And it literally takes you from beginning to end, from the day of generating leads right on up to closing on properties and then exiting from them, and how to raise money. I even teach you how to protect yourself from predators, little asset protection stuff, and what entities you need and all of that. And then how to sell the house on autopilot. Well, we don't show houses. We do out of autopilot. We don't even talk to buyers until we know how much money they got. And if they don't have much, we don't talk to them at all. So you're going to be talking to a few buyers on the back end, and you're not going to have that many people go through the house and not want it if it's in fact ready to show and put somebody in the house. So it's a step-by-step process. There's 5 steps to it totally, but you need to learn it before you go out and try to do it. You just make a big mess. I don't want you to go make a big mess.
Yes, sir.
So I'll say again, get the course today. And it's got what you need to do then. In other words, you're not going to learn retailing and rehabbing in that course. You're not going to learn wholesaling. Well, you are too, because I'm giving you a wholesale course for free. Now that I think about it, if you get it today. So you got to start wherever you can start, man. I did. I started with the books. Then I went to a free seminar. Then I went to a paid seminar, 2 days, and that was the beginning for me. And that's pretty much the way most people do it. Got to start somewhere.
Absolutely.
And I was all fired up, man. If I didn't want to talk about real estate, I didn't want to talk to you. I got out of the training.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate it, Ron. I think that's all the questions, and I'll do those
You're
necessary
welcome, man.
steps so I can do the first
You're
transaction.
welcome.
Thank you so much for your time.
Hope to see you live soon.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. God bless.
All right. Thank you, Anthony. Next question is from Dan. Does one need to have a real estate license to do this?
No. Dan, you can have one. It's not a problem. It doesn't hurt you in any way, but don't help you either. Okay. It does. Maybe it gives you a little bit more credibility, maybe. But on the other hand, you don't need more credibility unless something comes out of your mouth you shouldn't be saying, and you created doubt in the seller's mind. Well, what did I miss on that, John? I forgot the question already.
The question was, do I need a real estate license to do this?
I have no problem if you get one, but now you've only, only thing that I can think of that matters is that you got to disclose you have a license at the point of a meaningful relationship. Now, there's no definition of that in there. So in my opinion, that's when I'm in their house ready to sign a contract. I just put it right under my initial, right on my name, real estate agent or something. I had one for 2 years, same thing. I didn't do any deals as a realtor. I had the license. I did get the MLS in my home. That was kind of handy at that time. That's about it. I didn't even try to get any commissions. I mean, to me, it's more important that I go out and do deals, make a lot more money on them. But again, it won't hurt you. You got to have a broker to do it. Got to be under a broker, and that broker should know what you're doing. Because if you get a license, you're probably going to get some listings along the way. and get paid that way. I got so many people that are real estate agents. They're also investors. I mean, a lot of them throughout the country. So I assume you've already figured out what it would take to get a license, and if you're okay with that and you still want one, go get it. It ain't going to hurt you any.
Okay, Ann asks, what's the difference between this term system and Quick Start Real Estate School?
The term system you're getting is a home study course, and I teach, and I don't teach options that quickly. You got a course that's probably going to take you, I don't know, maybe 6 or 8 hours to get through. I can't just put that in there and have a 4-day event around it. I teach you the ugly house and the pretty house in the 4-day event. A lot of stuff I do in the boot camp are not in the course. So the course is kind of your backup when you get back home. But I'm going to give you the manual I showed you earlier. Once you come to the boot camp, you won't need the course anymore. But it's good to have it on hand because that gets you prepared right now, especially to bring leads to the class when you do come to it. Next one's in March. Plenty of time to get going now and get plenty of leads between now and then. And I haven't even told everybody this. I think I forgot it. If you register for the boot camp, I'm going to give you a certificate where you communicate directly with me for the first 90 days. Send leads to me, and I'll come back to you, and I'll discuss if there's anything there to discuss, and then I'll tell you what to do next for 90 days. Think you got a good chance of getting a deal if you're working with me for 90 days? Well, if you can stand that thought, I'm kinder and gentler than I used to be. So my goal is to help you get and I don't mind doing it. You're going to be sending these things to my assistant, and then she's going to be forwarding to me, and I'm going to grade them that day and get back with you. And if I see a deal there, then I'm going to pick up the phone and call you and tell you exactly what to do from there. By the way, I'm not here really to pitch the boot camp, but you need to investigate it and buy this course because you do get that money back credited toward the boot camp. And right now, this boot camp started at $5,995. Now it's down to $2,995. And there's credits that apply to that. And you can finance it if you want to with no credit check. And the next one's in March. Shoot me those dates. I'll go ahead and give them out while I'm on that subject. You got them, Adel?
I'll get them for you.
All right. And that's here in Jacksonville in this room. And you bring a guest for free. And you 30-day guarantee, and you can come to the live event and spend 2 days and still bail out if you don't, if you don't think this is for you.
24 through 27.
March 24 through 27. Make that note. March 24 through 27 here in Jacksonville.
That's our next one. And then if you guys have any questions about Quick Start, call that 800 number on the screen. They can answer anything for you there. Our next question, Craig says, when you say we can do this from our retirement account with lease option, do you mean lease option with sellers or lease option with tenant buyers?
Both. If you lease option it from the seller and then you put a tenant buyer in there, all that money's got to go into your IRA, which is your money. You take it out anytime you want, especially your contribution, because there's not even, you don't pay anything to your contribution back. So you do both. The house has got to be in the IRA and stay in the IRA, and every dime that comes in on it, every dime that goes out has got to go through your IRA. I will teach you that as well if you'll come see me for 4 days, because I'm telling you, that's a life changer right there. Money grows 10 times faster, not taxed, than it does taxed. So if you don't, some people don't understand it. I don't have enough money to contribute to my IRA. I don't care if you ever contribute another dime to your IRA after you own it, because that's not what it's all about. Let's take the deal that I showed you. Well, any deal, actually. Let's take a wholesale deal. Remember those 5 I showed you earlier? I have $10 that comes out of my IRA as a binder. Now I flip the house and I get back $37,000. That's to go in my IRA and now work tax-free forever. And that's the way I want you to work, actually, is tax-free. You get rich a lot faster tax-free than you do taxed. I bet you already knew that. All right, John.
CFL says, if I'm trying to buy a house to live in first, would I put it into an LLC or not?
You don't ever want to put anything in an LLC that you live in. I say that's for business. That's not for your home. You might create a tax problem for yourself if you don't know what you're doing and you do the wrong way. It's all you can buy the house in a land trust, and you and your spouse are going to own the land trust. And if you're in one of those states, you're going to own it tenants by the entirety. Trust me, that's an asset. That's the best asset protection you can get right there in the states that allow it. Go on Google and say, is this state qualify for tenants by the entirety? They'll print out a list of the states that qualify, and then another list of the states that you can do it only on real estate. So you can buy anything on tenants by the entirety, anything, cars or whatever, anything. And the predators can't pierce that, because assuming that only one of you get a judgment against you, the predators can't come through and take that asset, because it's owned 100% undivided. Keyword is undivided. All right. And then I'll teach you all this stuff if you give me time. Today I'm here to try to answer questions and really not doing seminars. Not doing a very good job of that. I know too many seminars. You can't shut me up once I get going. All right, John.
Elvira says, how long after you purchase do you have access to this system and all the scripts?
Oh, you mean when I purchased the course? Yeah. Oh, immediately. It's right in the course. Everything's in the course you need.
You'll have access to that for as long as Global Publishing is alive.
Well, yeah, you'll have possession of it.
We don't put a timer on it. We don't take away your access.
Yeah.
Brenda says, I have not found any real estate lawyers in California where I live who know anything about this type of real estate system. How do I find a lawyer?
Well, now, come on. How does everybody else buy houses in California? I've got hundreds of California students, hundreds, all right? And your problem is very simple. You're in the wrong place, okay? Start asking other investors who they use. Ask your title companies. They know who the good attorneys are to use because they're doing it all the time. That's the best place to ask. Ask the realtors who they use that are investor friendly, and you'll get the one. I mean, you got to know there's a whole lot more lawyers out there that aren't real estate lawyers than are. So I don't care if you talk to 5 lawyers and none of them, but that don't tell me anything except I've eliminated those 5 off my list. All right. And then if worst comes to worst, get on Google and say, I'm looking for a real estate closing attorney in Ontario or wherever you're at. And you'll get a list of them. Get a list of them.
Mark?
You just start calling them and just quickly ask them, are you a real estate closing attorney? Right? And then you got to make a deal on how much they're going to charge you per closing. And it should be a fixed deal in and out. So they get a double whammy. If you're buying the house, they close it. You're selling the house on lease purchase, they close that as well.
Mark says, when was the last time this terms course was updated?
Mark, I think it was year before last.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think it was about 2 years ago.
But I looked through it and there ain't nothing that will change. And I change them every once in a while, but I looked through that one. It wasn't enough to even make me make any changes in it.
Maria says, I want to buy this course, but I'm waiting some money in April. Can we lock in today's price for me?
You can if you call in and give them a deposit. I'll let that, you and them work that out. I understand. You should have seen me when I started. I mean, you can't get any broker than I was. You just can't. Had no money in the bank. My wife had no job. We had no IRA. All we had was me and me working. And I did quit, but understand, I quit after I got my first deal and was convinced I could get some more. Guys, please do not quit your job until you get some money coming in, and not until you think you're going to get it in. I want to see the money in your bank account before you go quitting your job. And you got to be thoroughly convinced that you can do that over and over again. And just start building your empire. Only then can you quit your job. Ron's rule: don't quit. Because if you do, I'll put you in a not so good financial position. And I've seen a lot of marriages fall apart when that happens. And I know you guys have got to quit belching the bologna and bring home the bacon. That should go on a T-shirt, shouldn't it?
All right. So yeah, if you call that 800 number, they can see if they can work something out with you. Trey asks, How do we convince the seller we will keep their payments current?
I think I just answered that a little bit ago. In fact, I thought I answered it for Trey even.
You probably did.
John, you know the link where they can go and get a planning session, 30-minute planning session to help them?
I can find that and type it into the chat section for them.
You guys have an opportunity right now to get on the list to spend a half an hour with my very trained people and to go over your what you'd like to achieve and what you need to have before you are going to be really successful in the business. Stopping you, and it's just a short form. You fill it out, and they'll get back with you, and you can have a conversation with them. So, you know, they talk to people every single day, so they know your issues, and they can give you very good advice. It's free, right? You just got to put it there, and they'll get back to you and tell you when they're scheduling your 30 minutes. So let's make sure we give them that before we get off here, will we?
All right, I just put it in the chat section there.
Okay. Termspecial.com. I ain't it.
No, I put it in the chat section for them so they can click on it.
Okay.
All right.
What is it? Tell me.
What is it? It is ronlegrand.com/mentoring-application.
Geez, that's a long one. Okay. Say it again.
ronlegrand.com/mentoring-application. But it's in the chat section there. They can just click on it.
All right.
I know it's a long one.
And by the way, that's not a sales call. They're not going to try to sell anything unless you ask them and want to talk about it.
Okay, we got a question from Craig. What is the script and process for a seller facing tax delinquency or tax foreclosure?
Well, you'll know they're behind on their taxes right up front or very early in the conversation with them. So now you've got to find out how much taxes. And, you know, by the time you get to that question, even, you need to know if you even want to mess with this deal, okay? You got to know the ARB. Seller will give you their version. You got to know what they owe. Until you get those two numbers, I don't know where else to go. So if you see some issues there, the good news is that that's a very strong motivation for them to work with you. But as soon as you find out how many taxes are owed, then you can decide, do I want to put up that much money for this deal? Do I want the deal if I did? What will I still owe? What will my equity be? What kind of shape is the house? All that you can immediately analyze while you're looking at the property information sheet. And if they're going to a tax deed sale shortly, I don't know how you're going to get more motivated than that. Because when that hammer drops, they don't own that house anymore just because they didn't pay their taxes. Now, if it does go to a tax deed sale, then you can always be bidding on that tax deed or that pay the taxes. Your bid will be whatever the taxes are. Here in Florida, you're bidding on how low you can make the interest rate on that, because if they want to come back and redeem it, or does anybody wants to come back, you know, it's going to go up in value and cost every month that you don't buy on it. So even if you don't get the house, maybe you can get the house through the tax deed sale. That's just defaulted mortgages. It's the same as defaulted mortgages. I love them. It's the same as buying a junker that you intend to rehab and turn it around and retail it. Okay, if I pay wholesale for that tax lien, I can sell it at retail, or I can just go file for the title property myself. And when I do that, I've got to report what I'm owed, and of course, what I'm owed is a full retail price of that tax. Of the taxes, not the price I bought it at, and then plus interest on top of that from the time that I've had it. So, you know, the more you learn, the more you earn. There's a whole lot of ways to make money in this thing, and you just put your hand, pointed your hand at one of them, and that is defaulted paper. So when you see the defaulted paper, which is lien, you can always go after that and buy that dirt cheap, and then force the house to get sold one way or another. I mean, that's a whole nother seminar. I used to teach one called Paper Power. And I know many of you sitting out there right now say, what the hell is he talking about? I get it. I get it. You know, there's a time that I was asking more questions than you are right now. But I'm trying to get as much as I can in here while we're still together. John, go.
If I've already purchased this course a few years ago, how much to upgrade?
if you purchased it down many years ago, would be my question. I don't know. Probably don't need upgraded, but if you bought 10 years ago, it definitely does. If you bought it 2 years ago, you really don't. I mean, I went through it. I go through these things every couple of years, and I didn't see anything that I needed to change in that one. I did on the wholesale course. I changed quite a bit of stuff on it, which you, by the way, get free if you've forgotten. Give me $4.95, and I'm going to give you that $9.95 course for free. Next thing you know, I'm going to be writing you a check here.
We have a question from Instagram. What happens if they do file for bankruptcy?
Well, first of all, if they've deeded it to you, you still own the house. Bankruptcy will not take the house away from you. But it depends on whether you're going to get the seller's getting any money out of it or not. If the seller's getting any money out of it, the court's going to want to clamp down on that. And when that thing sells, they're going to want it. But if that happens, you just immediately need to go to your attorney and or have him refer you to a bankruptcy attorney. And if the seller's not getting any money when you do close on it, your attorney can get it kicked out of the bankruptcy because there's no gain for the creditors. If there's money in the thing, they're going to want that money. And I don't know what they're going to do to make sure they get that money. They might just put a lien on the property. I don't know. I don't know what they do in that process. But I know they're going to get the money until their judgment is settled.
Joe says, I purchased this terms on the event last Thursday, and I didn't get access to it. Joe, I mean, it should have sent you an automatic email from Kajabi, which is the platform we use to host all of our products. If you didn't get that, call that 800 number on the screen and we'll figure out how to get it for you. Sometimes it goes to your spam email or something like that, but we can get to the bottom of it and get you access to it.
And sometimes your email address doesn't get transferred to our database. You just need one letter off and it won't go through. So check that as well. If you've gotten any email from us though, then and you're going through to you, and I'm sure you did, you wouldn't even know about this event today, then there is a problem you need to find out from customer service Monday. Oh, Tuesday, Monday's a holiday.
Yeah, call into our customer service if you don't get it this weekend. We absolutely will make sure you get access to it.
Who's sending that from here, John?
Well, we send it automatically through our system, so you'll get an email from Kajabi saying it's going to ask you to set up an account with an email and password, and then you can log in and you can have all courses accessible through there. You get them on your phone, any device.
That's where we're putting all of our courses on Kajabi.
Okay, question from Mark. How many people with high equity have accepted terms since you have been doing this strategy?
You got to be kidding. You got to be kidding. I started doing this strategy. I started in '82. It was in the mid '90s before I even started to do this strategy. So there's no way I'm going to recap all that. We did a ton of them. In fact, we did a lot of them in '09, right after the big crash in '08, September of '08. A lot of them during that few years right there, because people were over leveraged. That was their only hope of getting out without foreclosure.
Okay, next question is from Diane. What happens if there are school taxes and property taxes due on the property?
Well, they have to be paid, but they don't have to be paid front. You can take title no matter what's on the property. The property can have 24 liens on it, and that don't stop the seller from deeding you the property. Okay, liens are just attached to the property. They can't stop the sale of the property. And then, I'd love to have those numbers because I love those kind of houses, because I can show you how to get the liens off of the house and at the very least discount the liens, but they're part of the purchase price. Here's the cool part. You buy the property, you're buying it for the underlying debt plus the liens. So they're part of your purchase price, okay? So now you immediately go out and discount or remove some of those liens off the property. You just forced equity in it. And when you buy a property that's leaned up like that, many times it's got more liens on it, plus the mortgage that it's worth. That's great. I mean, there's no question you're going to give the seller no money on that one. They don't have anything coming. They got it over leveraged, right? And not get anything in the future. So every lien you get discounted is money you put in your pocket when you cash out of the property. By the way, when you cash out of the property, does not mean to refinance the property. We are not refinancing anything. I'm telling you, I'm going to inflict pain on you if I catch you refinancing and guaranteeing debt when you don't really have to. So if I get these liens off here, then I'm back to normal. I can either lease option it out or I can sell it for cash. But if I have to pay for these liens can be discounted. You'd be surprised how low you can discount them. I mean, probably up 10%. Discount them down to 10%, half at the very least. Okay, and different types of liens are different. What am I saying? Different levels of work you got to do to get them done. Some liens are not discountable. For example, if there's tax liens on it, you're likely not ever going to get a discount on that one. But if there's a judgment for any kind of lawsuit, I know you can get that one discounted. Doctor bills, they'll discount the crap out of them. So I like them with liens because I can now clean the liens up and I can foreclose on the house myself if I want to. So I foreclose on the house. Let's say one of the liens I can foreclose on, whatever, I don't know what kind of lien that would be, but most of them I can foreclose on them. Now I'm foreclosing on the house and all the liens above mine are going to get wiped out. Okay. So now my purchase price is what that lien cost me, the court cost, and the first mortgage balance. So I get it. You're probably not getting whatever I tell you anyway. But I love defaulted paper. Put that one down.
Question from Sam: can the pretty house business work in a multi-million-dollar neighborhood, or is there a sweet spot range between $300,000 and $400,000?
I did one in Vegas with a student. It was on Zillow for $4.6 million. He contacted him. The guy said, yeah. This guy, by the way, was the coach of the Oklahoma Sooners. He moved up to Oklahoma. His house was in Dallas, I think. Yeah, in Texas for sure. Anyway, this thing coming at about $500,000 worth of furniture he left in it. And he owed about $2 million on it. That wasn't a problem for him. The guy made millions of dollars a year. He didn't mind that. He just wanted to get this pain in the neck out of his life. So we agreed to, we agreed to purchase it, but under the condition we find a buyer before we close on it. All right. So my guy, first 30 days, we did not find a buyer. Second 30 days, we did not find a buyer. So I called him for another extension, and he says, nah, I'm going to list it with a realtor. And I said, Lon, it's been listed with a realtor for 2 months already. All right. And he agreed to the third extension. What choice did he have? All right. Anyway, long story short, we found the buyer in the third tranche. Actually, it was brought to a realtor. So by that time, we had dropped the price to $3.3 million because that's what it appraised for, and showed Lon. He said, okay. So we put a lease option tenant buyer in the house with $150,000 non-refundable deposit and 1 year to close on it. We knew he had the money. We saw it in the bank, but he couldn't touch it for a year. So we did a lease option. My partner and I split the $150,000. The realtor didn't get anything now because there wasn't enough to go around. But we agreed that he would get. He had about $100,000 coming, so we agreed that he would pay that when that buyer cashed out of the house. And as fate would have it, exactly what he did. He cashed out in about a year. Realtor got paid. All loans were paid off. And Lon was a very happy guy. As far as my partner, Joe and I, 150 is better than nothing, but we figured we are going to get a lot more out of that house. But for some reason, it was extremely hard to sell because of where it was at. And the market in Vegas was down. And of course, the amount of money that was involved, it automatically knocks the people who can buy it down like that. So yeah, that's the highest ticket item that we've done right there.
Okay, question from Barry. Would you pay for a property in foreclosure if the buyer is upside down on the mortgage?
No. Why would I? I got no equity. And I got to put out money to foreclose on it. In other words, would I pay for the foreclosure? That's whoever's foreclosing's problem. That's not the owner's problem. But that does give you a lot of leverage. Now, let's say that it's loaded up with liens like I just discussed, and it's over leveraged. I would still put a contract on it and see what I could do to discount those liens before I even bought it. You know, I'm looking to buy this property. The only way I can buy it is if you can remove this lien off the property, which, by the way, does not satisfy the lien. The seller is still responsible for it, but it's not on the property anymore, okay, which is all you need. And sometimes you'll have to pay them a small amount of money, like 5% of the, no, you don't pay the seller the 5%, you'd pay the buyer 5% of the lien, but answer's probably not.
Okay, Tom.
I know when to hold them, when to fold them.
Tom asks, when you buy with lease option, will the bank be concerned when you change the insurance?
They can't do a thing about it. Title isn't transferred. And when I buy it with lease option, I don't change insurance. The seller is the only people that can insure the property, nobody else. So that question is moot.
Michael says, to avoid any legal issues when buying pre-foreclosures from Florida homeowners, what are the items that I must do and must not do?
There's no way I could answer all of that right here. I mean, I need that list in front of me to do that. And there's, you know, that's what my scripts are for, incidentally. One side of the page, here's the task I got to do before I close, and then after I close. On the right side, here's the documents that I need in my file before and after the close. So checklist will take care of you missing anything if you use them. And if you don't use them, you absolutely will miss stuff. Why I created them to begin with. You can get those checklists on the Gold Club site. Just go up to resources, put in checklist. They'll pop up for you. I got one for every kind of purchase and every kind of sale. So you use one for the purchase and one for the sale.
Question from CFL, can I get a physical copy of the system or is it all digital?
It's all digital, but you can also print it out if you want it. You're going to get of course, you're going to get the video, but you can put it out, but we don't send it in the mail anymore. We switched to online only nowadays, like everybody else, because that's what the market dictated. So we don't deliver them personally anymore.
What if I wanted to use this system to buy a house for my children? Can I put it under an LLC?
No, you put it under a land trust, and then you have to decide who you want the beneficial interest of the land trust. If you want to buy a house for your children, first of all, if I bought a house for my children, they don't get a free ride. At the very least, they're going to sign a note, and we're going to figure out how they're going to pay me for what I got to come out of pocket with to buy that house. Right? Because worst thing you can do is just give them one. They won't appreciate it. Likely won't have it long before they wind up losing it. So make sure they got skin in the game. But all they need is buy it in a land trust and let them be the beneficial interest if you want them to be the beneficial interest. You can make you the beneficial interest if you want and rent it to them, and then maybe give them a test, like say, you make these payments on time for a year or 2 years, and I'll deed you the property and you totally own it. And then when that happens, all you got to do is change the beneficial interest. Nothing changes downtown. There's no closing cost. Change the beneficial interest and hand them a copy of the trust agreement. It's a beautiful thing.
Ann says, what is the difference between subject to versus wraps?
Okay, Ann, I've been over that a couple times. I'll do it one more time very shortly. When somebody deeds you a house subject to, they just sign the deed, sign a closing statement, and that's all that they get. Any other disclosures that the attorney wants to give them. You are then you have orally agreed to make their payments. You have not legally agreed to make their payments. So if you stop making payments, they got no way to foreclose because you don't owe them any money. Wraparound is a note to them where you do owe, and they can foreclose on that if they had to. All right. You're saying, well, I'm not going to let them foreclose. I'm not going to make the payment. You don't know that. You know, suppose you want to deed it to somebody else. They need some recourse to see if the payments are not being made. and they don't have any on a subject to. In addition to that, that payment will stay on their credit report and will probably keep them from buying another house because of their debt ratio, because they're going to use that as an outgo as well as the new house as an outgo, probably kill their debt ratio. All right. So that's the difference. And truthfully, why don't you just forget there's a subject to and start buying it on a wrap? Because I'm telling you, the tidal wave is coming when subject to is going to be going bye-bye. And once a few states outlaw it, it's going to spread like wildfire. And you know what? I don't blame them a bit. I don't blame them a bit. I'm not unhappy with that one if they do it, because I'm buying on wrap anyway. I don't buy on subject to for that reason. And an attorney might approve a wrap. If he approves a subject to deal, he probably ought to give up his license. Because that puts a lot of risk on the seller. And that puts you in control of their credit.
Okay, Tony and Angie say, we just want to thank you for all you have done for us. You not only gave us direction to have a successful business, but you continue to provide us with support and encouragement.
Oh man, that's good, guys. That's good. These two are, every time I have questions, I'm asking for questions, they're on it. So live in Columbus, Ohio. Thank you for that comment, guys.
Okay. Next question from Joe. My neighbor has had her house marketed twice now through two different realtor companies. I'd like to try to lease purchase with her. How should I approach her?
Well, that's why I got scripts. Okay, just ask her, would you be interested in lease optioning the property to me? Okay? And if she isn't, she isn't. Now, property information sheet would be, I'd have to take a look at that because it's probably easier for you to buy it. She wants to sell it. Okay, well, why don't you just ask her, will you sell it to me if I make your payment until it's paid off? And then you pop the question. I usually buy with nothing down, okay? And she's your neighbor. She knows you're real and you're not fake. So you got to pick her brain to figure out where her head is without talking too much or talking too fast or stupid stuff comes out of your mouth. Your PI sheet is nothing more than a questionnaire. Okay? Look at it. You should have one. Ask her the questions that are on it. And then if she's interested in any kind of terms, go right to my $1 million script. 3 more questions, and then you go to the appointment if you like the answers. That's it. Incoming lead to VA, from VA back to you, quick closing call from you. Then it either goes into your follow-up system or in the trash, or you make an appointment to go to the house. That's the whole system right there. All of it's done for you except the closing call.
Okay, Lucky says he's got a 2-year-old house. They're asking $570. The ARV is $590. The PITI is $2,800 a month. A suburb of Raleigh, North Carolina, and it's empty. Would you do it with these numbers?
Yeah, I'd do it. I'm not giving him any money, of course, but I'd do it. But, you know, might be a candidate. That payment is not too high for that price of house. Might be a candidate for you to either buy and then lease option or lease and then lease option. Either way. And then you need at least 90 days before your first payment is due. Which we get every time, Lucky, you know.
Okay, so Gregory says sales tax lien, sales, owner finance, do all of these qualify for land trusts?
I don't even understand that question. The only
if
time
you purchased a house through a sales,
all of these properties should go into a land trust. One house, one trust. By the way, there's a whole lesson on the Gold Club about land trust to answer all your questions. But it's one house, one trust. All the rest of that stuff, land trust makes no. I mean, any land trust has nothing to do with all the rest of that stuff. Okay, it's only the owner of the house, and it's the owner. Therefore, it should be named on your insurance policy, and then you should have an LLC to do business within. That does have a bank account, does have an EIN number, and is a LLC. All your money goes in and out of your LLC. The trust does not even have a bank account. So there's no money going into the trust. Remember, the LLC owns the trust. All the money's going in and out of the LLC that owns the trust. Trust has only one benefit. That is, it owns the house. And then I'm not going to go through all that again, but get on the Gold Club site, incidentally. And it's right now it's $99 a month. And for most of you that are paying the $99, we have a surprise for you coming very soon. So stay tuned.
So is there any type of way that you could buy a house where you wouldn't use a land trust?
No. I'm going to take
like
that.
your IRA.
No. If you buy it in your IRA, then that IRA needs to have its own LLC that owns the IRA owns the LLC. LLC owns the land trust. Now, everything done in that LLC has to comply with the rules for your IRA. And in fact, when you go to the Gold Club site, you pull down the lesson on 4 LLCs. And I go through all of that and tell you why I need 4. You don't have to have 4, but you're going to need at least a couple of them. And if you're going to do business for your IRA, that's one right there. And that one cannot do anything for you or any of your linear descent up or down. You can't even live in the house, neither can they. And you can't contribute a house. It just has to buy a house, but in that trust that your IRA owns. This is getting more and more complicated, but get on the Gold Club site and just pull that lesson down.
Okay, Diane asks, do you use Tennessee by the entirety for just land trusts?
No, I use tenants by the entirety for anything and everything that I buy, especially anything that's recorded on a public record. I have cars that are owned by not land trust, but paper trust. Paper trust are for anything other than land trust. Okay, same thing though. The car is owned by the trust, and then we own I have a corporation that owns all of my car trusts. If that makes any sense. But the cars are owned one car, one trust, one house, one trust. Never more than one egg in one basket, and that's what's going to protect you against a predator. And be careful. Remember now, if somebody comes in and gets a judgment against both husband and wife, I don't know anything I could do for you. And they're going to get judgment against both of you. There's really much of a way you can protect those assets. But maybe your estate, your attorney can guide you to whatever that may be. It's going to be tough. That's why I keep my wife out of my business. She doesn't. She don't sign anything. Okay. She ain't part of the business. She makes no decisions about the business. That's just my choice. And that's worked so far for 60 years.
Barry said, we are interested in your course. Can we call office? So yes, Barry, of course.
If you hurry.
Yeah, I think our guys are going to be here for at least another hour or so. So call soon and they'll be there. And if you can't get through, we are getting a lot of calls right now. If you can't get through, it'll have you leave a message and they'll call you back as soon as
Don't forget, you can always buy it online right there at that address, turnspecial.com.
Jack says, what is the best website to look for properties?
Gee, Jack, don't you give me a hard question. There's a ton of them to look for properties. I'm not sure that we go to any websites to look for properties. We go to Dreams Pro AI to do mailings to the type of property we're looking for. We've done several of those. That's a postcard mailing that we're going to send. But there ain't no one website you can go to find single family houses like there is commercial. Commercial would be loopnet.com. It's all commercial properties available, but there's no site like that. And you would say maybe MLS, but if you don't have a license, that's irrelevant. And the truth is, I don't want to buy anything through the MLS anyway, because now I got to pay the realtor on top of all the money that I paid closing costs with. I'm not going to be willing to do that. So you got to get sellers coming to you. I'll teach you that on the first day of the boot camp. And there's a whole bunch of ways you can do that. But I'm going to tell you, there ain't any way better than Dreams Pro AI dropping some postcards to a screen down, very small list. I seen Adel drop 2,000 names down to, 36 names?
Go down to 20 if you want.
So, because you can stack these motivation. In other words, I can send to vacant houses. That's one list. And then I can send to out-of-town owners. That's another list. But I put them together, and I'm really narrowing it down. So I get a handful of pieces that I need to send out to what looks like the most motivated. Remember, you got those 17. I hope you took a picture of them on the slides and that I went through earlier. Go to dreamspro.com and or .ai, and you can they're probably right there too.
Okay, this is a question from Ron. I have had some good results working with realtors on market properties in addition to FSBOs and off market.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any training documents to help me with educating licensed real estate agents?
I would say you're wasting your energy, because even if you are marketing with them, they're going to want a commission when this thing is sold, and their broker's not going to give them any choice. I mean, assuming they brought you the deal. But I don't mean you can't pay them indirectly for their services. It's up to them whether they want to report that to the broker or not. But if it's not listed, they don't have to report it to anybody. If it is listed, then remember the broker's in charge of this company, and he or she is going to want to know everything that goes on. So I'm going to tell you, it's a lot simpler to just stay away from listed properties and the MLS in the terms business, and just focus on finding the FSBOs. That's where the money is. And as I said earlier, there is no way you're ever going to be able to do a deal that is listed that will come close to the deals you can do working with FSBOs, because it just ain't going to happen. The realtor ain't going to let it happen. They're going to list it at whatever they think is market value. And that's it. And, you know, I don't mind you having relationships with realtors, but they need to know what you're looking for and how they're going to get paid if they send it to you, because if they send it to you, they're out. They're out. So they just need a referral check, I guess you'd call it.
Okay, we got a question from Jonathan on a subject to deal, and the investor is making the monthly payment. Does it cost a lot of money to put the property in a land trust? Do you recommend a nationwide attorney for this?
No. You should get an attorney that's statewide. Yeah, they can do anything in that state that they're licensed in. Some of them are in several states. So the question was, can I put it in a trust?
Well, the question was, does it cost a lot of money to put it into a land trust?
Okay. In Florida, if I want to put one of my own houses in a land trust, it costs $20. $7 for deed stamps and the rest for a recording. Right? Different states have different rules on that. Some states, closing costs are a lot higher, but nobody can stop you from putting a property into a land trust, including the lender. And by the way, they know it. I mean, there's a law that prohibits them. I showed you that earlier, the Garn St. Germain. They can't do anything about it because you're putting your property into a trust. All right. And now there's really no way they're going to learn that you've assigned that trust to somebody if that's what you want to do later. But as I made very clear, I don't care what they find out, because they ain't going to hurt me, because I don't owe them any money. I'm just paying somebody else's payment on their mortgage. That's all. They cannot hurt me. The most they could do is foreclose on the property, and I have never seen anybody lose a property because they transferred the title. I'm sure there are some, and sometimes the bank just will foreclose because the sellers pissed them off and they don't want anything to do with this house anymore, and they want to get it over with. But you know, that's the answer is all of them go into land trust. I don't care what the underneath situation is. One house, one trust.
Okay, question from Gregory. I recently acquired a piece of property with 6.5 acres, houses on one side and just land on the other.
Mm-hmm.
Purchased under one loan, but it has 2 parcel numbers. I was told I can't separate the address due to it being under one loan. Is that true?
That's true for the loan, but that doesn't stop you from separating the 2 pieces. And then, you know, I think I answered this. I would advise you to have the surveyor come out and draw a square around the house and assign a new legal to it. And then it could be that the house will sell for enough to pay off the entire loan on the property if you bought it right. Even if it doesn't, it'll still pay off most of it. So you sell the house to get the land free and clear. And that's assuming there's a use for the land. Okay. Is the land developable? Is there road frontage on it? Water and sewer can't be very far from it. It's probably already there on that house. So I need an exit strategy. On the other hand, I don't have to have an exit strategy. I just let the land sit there if I want to, because I owe very little or nothing on it. You just have to pay taxes on it. Then you got plenty of time to get help and figure out what's the best use of that land. But before I did all of that, I probably had somebody give me some ideas on what's the best use of it. Your appraiser might help, but there's plenty of people you can ask. Realtors certainly know what the best use of it is as well. So if you want to put the land on the market, you can do that too. I'd let a realtor sell it. Maybe you want to actually live on it. I don't know. Maybe you want to grow marijuana on it. It's your land. You can do whatever you want to do with it.
Okay, Michael says, what special protection is provided Florida homeowners in pre-foreclosure that I should not violate?
You need a special contract that clearly states that they have a 3-day right of rescission. And, that's about the only difference on the contract. And that is a requirement. That's what you had to, but that's after they've been filed on. Okay, make sure you understand that. Not because they're late, because the foreclosure has been filed. And then that law kicks in.
All right, a question from Ron. Does the Gold Club provide names attorneys knowledgeable with paper and land trusts?
No, it doesn't. And I wouldn't, because I'm recommending people I don't even know, and I'm just not going to do that. I tried it once, didn't work. I got some attorneys together and even trained them on my way of doing business, and didn't work. I'd send people to them and they act like I didn't even hear about training them to do. So I don't ever recommend an attorney. Now, it ain't that hard to find a good attorney. First of all, you should ask the people, like I just said, ask the realtors, they know. Go to title companies, ask them. They certainly know. They deal with them every single day. You're not going to be doing much asking there before you're going to get a good attorney. In fact, that attorney might even have his office in a title company. Quite a few of them do. Who better? Close stuff every day. And that makes it easier as well if you find one with a built-in lawyer. Most of them have it.
A few more questions left, Ron.
Okay.
Tony and Angie, I'm experiencing a number of deals that would be prime candidates for a short sale. Can you do some videos on doing a short sale?
To tell you the truth, I'm not up on that because I hate short sales. Too much work for too little success. But there are guys out there who sell a course on short sale. I can't just give you their name right now. So might want to. What was the fellow that I put on? I interviewed one of them on my podcast not too many months ago. Might see if you can find that on your podcast list of my podcast. But I don't want to try to teach short sales because I'm not up on it and I don't do them.
CFL says, how do we get the leads?
Steve, that takes me about 4 hours in the afternoon on the first day to answer that question. I'm going to give you a whole plethora of them for you to pick from and tell you what's working for us and what's not working for us. And I got to tell you, that's the first thing that you're going to want to do. You got to get leads coming in. You got to crank up the buying machine, or all the rest of this doesn't matter. And so there's some that are free. There's some that cost a little. There's some that cost more. Cost more ones are somebody else generating the leads for you, and then you buy the leads. Again, there's multiple ways to do it. Most people start with the stuff that's free or almost free. And as they do deals, they work their way up if they want to actually pay for the leads. I hope you get to the point where you don't have to buy leads. You can generate all you want. Start with the internet. Put ads everywhere they're free. Everywhere they're free. And then there's other places. A lot of investors are using Facebook. We quit because it just got too high a cost on it. Believe me, there's an awful lot of people that are quitting Facebook for the same reason in multiple different kinds of business. What that did was, we did too. In global publishing, we can't use them anymore. They're just too high. So that forced us to look for other ways. And we are definitely on the edge of that right now. So sometimes the best thing that happen to you is, people tell you they don't want to work with you anymore, and it makes you go out and do what you got to do to solve the problem. And that's what you're responsible to do as the business owner. But tons of them start with all my list. You ain't gonna go beyond all my list. I can tell you that right now. There's too much on that thing for you to do.
Ann asks, where can we find your podcasts?
TheMentorPodcast.com. TheMentorPodcast.com.
Okay, and I'll type that in the chat so they can have that.
Mhm.
Got a question from Michael. Can we buy commercial properties subject to existing debt?
Absolutely. Nobody can stop you but the seller.
Tommy asks, in New Jersey, do you know the best way to find owner finance for properties, and which is the best route to search?
In New Jersey and Florida and California and Texas and every other state, it's all the same. You got to generate leads, and then you got to ask the right questions to determine whether they want to do terms or not. I don't care where you live; it's the same process, and it's the same questions. Makes no difference. Everybody wants to go on the other side of the pastures. I'm telling you right now, they got poop under them. If you can't make deals where you live, you won't make them somewhere else either. As far as New Jersey, from what I remember, I know they got high closing costs, and I forgot what I think you called it, a land installment contract up there. I'm not sure. So got a lot of students in New Jersey as well. Everybody thinks all these states, there's a very little difference in any state you go into. And then you only got to learn once, like what states will honor tenants by the entirety. And by the way, when you come see me, I'll even give you an alternative for that if you're in one of those states. We got you covered. Got you covered to protect yourself, and we got you covered to make a lot of money and make sure that you retire filthy, stinking rich.
All right, question from Craig. If one has an IRA with a Roth bank account which does not own an LLC, how can the bank account be switched to the LLC for investments?
The Roth, did he say the Roth has a bank account?
If you have an IRA with a Roth bank account, but I guess the IRA does not own an LLC.
I'd want to know, why does the Roth need a bank account? All right, let me hit this quickly. You are never, ever going to put your Roth on public record as the owner of a property. Right now, I can't think of anything more stupid than that. You realize if anything happens on that property and they get a judgment against that property owner, which is your IRA, you just got wiped out. Your IRA is going to be gone. And frankly, that situation and the IRS are the only two people who can grab your IRA. So don't ever put anything on public record. Same thing with anything. I see some attorneys say, well, you put all these properties in this LLC, just one LLC. What a stupid suggestion. Anything that happens on one of those properties affects all of them because they're all in the same entity. If that entity is on public record as the owner of the property, that entity is responsible. That entity could own 10 houses. That means all of those 10 houses are at risk. If you put one house, one trust, or even one house, one LLC, which there's no reason really to do that. One house, one trust. Trust works in 50 states, incidentally. Okay, look that up yourself. If there's no statute in many of those states, which there isn't, that doesn't mean it don't work. It just means there's no statute. If there's no statute, it's legal.
I think we got two more questions here.
All right.
Bally, I have a seller who has reached out that has a low equity in a VA loan. They owe about $319.
Yep.
Only made 1 to 2 years of payments on mortgage.
Good.
What would be the best way to buy it from them? They don't feel super comfortable with subject to because they want to get another loan to build a house on a piece of land.
Mhm.
They have had home on the MLS trying to sell for several months and it's not moving.
Mhm.
What would you recommend?
Well, first of all, if I think I'm thinking on this one. If that house is sitting out there and you're still trying to sell it, or you got it on the MLS, The only way you're going to get rid of that loan is to cash out of the house, sell it to an owner occupant. You might have to get a little flexible on that one, I can tell you, because all across the country, properties are dropping. And right now, it's buyer's market. I think soon to convert back to a seller's market because things are changing fast. But when the MLS gets over, I'd let it drop. Also, you can ask your realtor if they can release your listing if you actually get somebody that you think will buy the property. But you're just going to have to explain to the seller they don't really want the loan to stay in their name, and if that kills them getting a new loan, that's probably the end of that deal, because they're not going to want to do it because they won't qualify for their other loan. So you got no choice to just leave it out, keep dropping the price till it's gone with the realtor. I got one like that right now, dropping the price considerably. House should have been sold a long time ago, but in an area that kind of got a bad reputation, but it's a beautiful area. People think it's a mobile home area, and that'll force me to buy that a few months back. He's sitting right here. I didn't waste that. All right, John, what's next?
Dang says with a lease option to a tenant buyer, and if 2 years has passed and the third year they decide to buy it, do you renegotiate the price for that time? How do you go about it?
I could, but I don't. I won't. I don't care. Listen, we have a price that they got to pay, and it's probably not changed much between the end of the second year and the middle of the third year. And yes, I can take their deposit and boot them out if I want to, but that's not the way I run my business. I'll take their deposit. Technically, they'll forfeit that deposit at the end of the 2 years, but I'll still give them credit for it when they want to go buy a house, if they actually want to go buy it and cash me out of it. You do whatever you think is right. I'm not going to take their money just because they're late. However, I have every right to change the terms on that deal at the end of the 2 year period. And that will depend on what's going on around me. And, like this hyperinflation we had a couple of years ago, my house went up $50,000 in that 2 years. I'm going to get some of that added to the price, even if I don't get all of it added to the price. But we got a new deal at the end of 2 years when they're ready to buy. Make no mistake, though, at the end of 2 years, I don't move them. I don't tell them. I don't send them anything. I just keep collecting the rent. Okay. I don't want them to buy, but if they want to buy, God bless them. Do whatever I can to help them. Does that answer that one, John, or not?
I think you did. And Ron, I think that's actually our last question.
No way. We've only been answering questions for 2 hours. That's all you guys got? Okay, that's a long one, I tell you. Well, thank you for watching today. We appreciate you, and I hope we have a long-term relationship with you. That's entirely up to you, but we'll be here when you need us. So thanks again. Ron LeGrand signing off.
Ron, we got a ton of questions.
Ron's event to me is heads and toes above any other event. He always has good content. He has good speakers that he brings in. He doesn't let just anybody come in and speak. He always has good speakers.
It's great energy. There's a lot of people motivated and a lot of people that are getting motivated. You can just tell by everyone that walks up there and speaks that they're here to help with whatever they can. So it's really exciting.
So the content is a little overwhelming at first when some of the mentors have said to us, be prepared, it's like drinking from a fire hose. They are absolutely right.
It's just chock full of so much great information, first of all, and then just to hear testimonials from others who've been doing it as well.
It's awesome. The amount of information it borders on information overload, but it is so good. Every time you hear it, you just understand it a little better.
So the live on stage phone calls where all the mentors got up on stage, each mentor got about 3 chances, or whoever they can get on the phone, and it was raw, uncut, live calls, like, anything can go.
You actually get to see fellow students work on properties that have the potential for you to purchase and make an incredible profit on.
Ron's an awesome guy. He's got the goods. It's not a flash in the pan kind of event. It's just rock solid meat and potatoes, good stuff all the way through.
He is so matter of fact. His teaching style is very to the point. There's no BS, but you learn really quickly that way.
He's the real deal. He's to the point, and he's been doing it for so long that it's like second nature to him. And if you just listen to what he does and what he says, then you'll do fine.
He seems sincere, he's honest, he's easy to understand. He has a sense of humor, so I enjoy his teaching.
Man, he changed my life, man, just off of the content that I've gotten, just listening to him. And I don't know too many people that can hold you in one place for 12 hours and you still be excited just listening to him.
He tells you exactly what to do, how it is. It's no baloney, you know? I like that.
Everybody is just super nice, super helpful. They want to make sure that you're getting what you're needing.
Anytime we have a question, they're there to answer it.
Everybody's so helpful, and all they want to do is see you succeed, which is very good, and it's obvious too.
This event gives you limitless potential. You owe it to yourself to come and learn what this process is, because it will open your eyes and change your life.
Just do it. I mean, save up the money. And if you're on the fence and this is something that you're interested in and you can see yourself doing, then you're absolutely right. You can absolutely do this business. It'll change your life. I believe it's changed mine.
If you're considering real estate at all, this event, you can get people that will walk beside you and help you become a success in this. 100%. You will do deals with these people.
You're gonna make it back in one deal if you're passionate about it and this is what you want to do. To me, it's like a no-brainer, you know?
Just do it. Just do it.